Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining today's research forum and forward to having a successful forum and look forward to hearing all of your presentations as well. So to begin with, I'm going to show you the agenda for today. So you must have all gotten the program. This is the brief agenda. And we'll have a plenary session where we have keynote speaker and guest speakers sharing with us, as well as our patron. And after the plenary session, then we move on to the parallel sessions where each of the presenters will share their presentation with us. So let's first start by reciting the anthem together. In brotherhood we stand, Nigeria and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battered hold, and
And
this
this
we
we
count
count
as
as
gain. To hand to our children empire
without
stain.
shame.
Okay, so we read the first stanza together. And moving on, we would like to invite the chairperson of the Association of Nigerian Scholars, Dr. Sofuruchi, to give us the welcome address for today.
Thank you so much, Seniat. Our ever supportive patron, Professor Lawal Marafa, members of the NHSK Executive Board, Ms. Islamiyat Saududdin, the Secretary, Mrs. Sharon Davids, the Welfare Officer, Ms. Adedoyin Salahuddin, the Treasurer, and Ms. Semi Ayeni, the PRO. Members of the 2026 Research Forum Committee, chaired by Dr. Godswill Chibu, with Ms. Semiat Ayeni, Mr. Basit Adigun, Mrs. Margaret Oyewole, and Mr. Bright Ogbonna as members. Our distinguished keynote speaker, Dr. Kehinde Oyetunde, who is also a former president of the association. Our esteemed guest speakers, Drs. Olutamilayo Petire and Ifunanya Kaniro, who have served the association as secretary, and Dr. Kehinde Temitope, who has served the association as a member of the research forum and election committees. Our other NHSK members, our respected paper presenters and participants who have joined us from far and near. Good afternoon to you all. As the president of this noble association, I'm excited to welcome you to the 2020 Research Forum of the Association of Nigerian Scholars in Hong Kong. This is a special research forum because it was on this day 13 years ago that our founders established this association. NHSK is 13 years old today. Hooray! Happy 13th anniversary to us all. We thank the current and past executive board members, many who are online today, who have contributed to the success of this association. We are grateful to all our members for their unwavering commitment and support. It's been 13 years of progress. Many of our members have become faculty members in different institutions here in Hong Kong and beyond. Recently, one of us was promoted to full professor. Other members are setting the pace as well in their professional and business careers. Since its establishment in 2013, NHSK has continued to serve as an association that caters to members' needs providing educational and emotional support. Before COVID, NHSK had a tradition of picking up new members from the airport and helping them settle in. We are keen to continue this tradition. Therefore, if you know any Nigerian who will be arriving in Hong Kong for the new academic session, please do well to inform any of the executive members. We've also made our presence in Hong Kong known by being involved in different volunteering services. While catering to its members here in Hong Kong, NHSK has also extended its contributions to our compatriots in Nigeria. Among others, we've organized multiple information sessions on how to secure undergraduate and postgraduate scholarships. You can view the recordings via our YouTube channel. Last year, we established the NHSK Scholarship Program, which covers the application fees for up to 5 competitive Nigerians applying for the Hong Kong PhD Fellowship Scheme across all disciplines. We've continued this tradition this year, and we seek to support up to 5 applicants this year through the generous funding from our dear patron, Professor Marafa. The application is ongoing. If you are interested, you can apply by 30th of June. You will see the flyer towards the end of the research forum. This year's research forum with the theme From Generative AI to Agentic AI, Interdisciplinary Perspectives on Autonomous Systems, Ethical Governance, and Societal Adaptation reflects the changing dynamics in our fields with the emergence of Gen AI and Agentic AI. We have invited seasoned scholars to speak to the theme from different perspectives. I hope you enjoy the intellectual conversations that will take place during this research forum, and that you will broaden your understanding and inspire research ideas and future collaborations. As we gather to kick off today's research forum, I would like to end my address by thanking our patron for his commitment and support to the association. Just as his palindromic first name, Lawal, will give you the same spelling, whether you spell it from left to right or right to left. Professor Marafa has been supportive of NHSK from all angles. He has given his time, energy, and resources to the association. We appreciate your guidance and fatherly care, Prof. Long shall you live. I want to take a moment to express our deepest gratitude to our remarkable Research Forum Committee Chair and members. It takes an immense amount of coordination and hard work behind the scenes to bring an event of this scale to life. We all know how fast-paced and demanding life in Hong Kong can be, which makes your selfless dedication of time and energy to the association even more commendable. From the very depths of our hearts, thank you for your tireless preparation and for making today possible. Mungai. I also want to extend a warm welcome and our heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speakers. We are deeply honored that you have graciously accepted our invitation to share your wealth of knowledge and expertise with us today. We are looking forward to learning from you, and we thank you for your invaluable contributions to NHSK. As we embark on today's sessions, I encourage each of you to actively engage, ask questions, and connect with one another. Let us make the most of this wonderful opportunity to learn, grow, and inspire each other. Thank you all for your presence and participation today. I wish you all a deeply rewarding, insightful, and successful research forum. Thank you, and let the intellectual feast begin.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sopuruti, for the amazing welcome address. Now I would like to invite the chairperson of the Research Forum Committee to give some introductory remarks before we move on. So I'll be inviting Dr. Chibo to give us the introductory remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Semiat. Esteemed scholars, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. For those joining us from across different time zones, especially our keynote speaker, Dr. Kehinde Oyetunde, who is joining us from Canada in the early hours of the morning. we say a very special welcome and thank you for your unalloyed dedication to this community. It is my distinct honor as the chair of the 2026 Research Forum Committee to officially welcome everyone to the Association of Nigerian Scholars in Hong Kong Annual Research Forum. I would like to begin by extending my deep appreciation to our President, Dr. Sopru Chabo, for his leadership and his warm welcome address. I also want to acknowledge our highly respected patron, Professor Lawal M. Marafa, whose continuous guidance remains a strong pillar for this association. To our brilliant lineup of guest speakers today, Dr. Funanya Akaniro, Dr. Tomilayo Peterin, and Dr. Kemitope Keinde, thank you for gracing us with your time and expertise. If you look closely at our program today, a powerful and highly relevant theme emerges across our sessions, and that is agentic AI. We stand at a critical juncture in technological and academic evolution. We are transitioning from an era where artificial intelligence simply generates information to an era where AI acts, decides, and operates with autonomy. This shift brings incredible opportunities for innovation. But as our speakers and presenters will highlight today, it also introduces a critical questions regarding ethical governance, societal readiness, and the very boundaries of human agency. Today's forum is designed to tackle this question head-on from interdisciplinary perspectives. Following these introductory preliminary sections, we will transition to our parallel sessions. We have carefully segmented these sessions across science and technology, social science and humanities, and engineering and mathematics. You will hear from our vibrant community of scholars presenting cutting-edge research ranging from neuroformic control and molecular dynamics to the impact on AI on JAM admission, recidivism, risk assessment, and African traditional music. I want to express my deepest gratitude to the organizing committee who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this event a reality. Semiat, Bright, Basit, and Margaret, I thank you guys. My charge to everyone today is simple. Engage, question, collaborate. Let us use this platform not just to showcase our research, but to build bridges and push the boundaries of knowledge. And now to set the tone for the rest of our proceeding, it will also be my absolute privilege to invite our esteemed patron to deliver the patron address. But before he speaks, I will briefly share his profile with you. Can we move to the next slide? Yes. Professor Lawal M. Marafa is a professor at the Department of Geography and Resource Management and the Director of Master of Social Science in Sustainable Tourism at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. He holds an MSc Moscow degree in agriculture, a PhD in UK in land resources planning, and a PhD in geography, CUHK. He is a recipient of numerous academic and teaching awards. His research interests include soil and environment, natural resources management, ecotourism, and natural heritage, tourism and environment. Professor Marafa has, to his credit, numerous articles published in various peer-reviewed journals and has presented papers at many international conferences. Beyond academia, Professor Marafa is a good ambassador of Africa in Asia, which is evident in his service as the regional coordinator for the new Partnership for African Development Business Group and the coordinator of the African Business Roundtable in Asia. Professor Marafa, you have the virtual floor. Welcome.
Okay. Oops. Just a minute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. We can.
Okay, good. Yeah, I do not have a PowerPoint slide. I thought it's not necessary. So when I read the profiles, I saw that there are quite a lot of heavyweights in this perspective. So I'm just here basically, to listen and maybe to chip in. I want to start by congratulating the current ANSHK executive. The president just made a speech which was basically fantastic, Saporuchi. I also want to acknowledge the committee that has organized this. I have attended this, I don't know how many times, but it has always been on a Saturday, and I try to make time basically to be here. Like I said to you many times, and previously before you, this is probably one of my primary constituencies again in Hong Kong. So once it is happening, I make sure I'm here. I mean, I was in this situation before, a long time ago. I always like to start by saying that Nigerians are Nigerians, but we will discuss that at a later stage. I think about 2 or 3 years ago, I was hosting the executive to a dinner on our campus, and somewhere beside the table was actually the provost of the university, who at that time also was doubling as in charge of foreign students. So she was asking me later on, are they all my family members? I said yes. And your children? I said they are too old to be my children. So are they, how are they a family? Because their concept of family is different. I say, well, they are my brothers. So, and then the questions increase. So brothers, and so on. So I had to tell her that many of them at that time were PhD students, in CTU, PolyU, and she just took it and she spread this news across to the university everywhere that, Marafa is actually mentoring people. He's talking to students that are not in Chinese. So it went on, and to some extent, it made me happy. I'm not sure if I have shared it here before, but I thought I should share it. Now, when we look at technology, I'm not an AI expert, I have to say from the beginning. But in these days, there is no way you can actually work and achieve without putting that into perspective. So we go back to the beginning of technology. When I came to Hong Kong, it will be interesting to know that nobody had an email. Mobile phones were not even available, at that time. So eventually, when the email came, when we found someone in UI, University of Ibadan, to email to, the emails always had to go to Italy before they actually got routed to Nigeria. So that was, how we started. But here we are today, with a lot of technology at our hands, and I'm sure, I believe many of you are actually more capable in using that, more than me. Yeah, someone is calling. But in any case, we have people also, we help ourselves, we try to train ourselves, we do our work. At a later stage, you will see my son is also here, who is actually also one of those AI champions, because there are people we call AI champions. Now, I saw the program, and you told me 10 minutes. I don't think I can speak for 10 minutes, but in any case, I saw the program, and I was very happy to see that there was segmentation, from pure sciences to social sciences, and applied sciences, as well. So that means that, this technology, AI, and agentic AI basically covers, the whole spectrum. And so everybody knows that. So I will not be doing that. Now, however, a large number of people, particularly some of our students, because again, I'm sure you know that at the moment, in most of the schools in Hong Kong, and ours is basically on top of it, you must put AI components, in your course outline. And you must monitor how that is actually being used, by the students. So the first thing we normally say in the class is, don't use AI as Google, because a lot of people use AI simply as Google, initially including myself as well. And there is an option of voice, so make sure that your voice is also heard, particularly as AI, even though on the ethical component, which, briefly the chairman of the committee just mentioned, those things can actually be misused. But when we use AI and its derivatives, as actually coach, then we might be able to get away, with all that. So we coach ourselves to use AI and apply it across all the domains of the society. This we have seen, and every other aspect is actually in that perspective. So it's not only capable of performing narrowly designed tasks these days, but more importantly, we are basically looking at the way it functions in different perspectives, with or without minimum human intervention, human involvement. And so this is basically what we are looking at in that direction. So there is a lot of technical issues, but again, as mentioned, we are looking at the ethical component. So there is limitation to some extent up till now about how ethics can do. Again, my profile is actually a profile that was written maybe 2008 or 2009. But if you look at the current issues, I actually work with ethics with the United Nations on the World Tourism Organization. So we do ethics. And just 2 weeks ago, my last presentation with UNESCO was actually on ethics. So we look at ethics as well. So AI agents, agentic, there are quite a lot of ethical principles that we have to take in mind, as we move on. Again, in your schedule, I see quite a lot of interesting documents. I will probably promise you that I will be here till probably 5, because my own is to learn. I want to learn. I want to take away as much as possible. You may see me, you may not see me, but I will be here. So in ethical principles, particularly as AI is concerned, we might need to focus on transparency. And so when we do course outlines, transparency is important. And I keep telling my students, basically, when I read students' work now or other people's work in terms of review of papers, if it is written by AI, by the time I finish the first page, I will basically pick it up because there will be no human touch in basically, what you are doing, because the agentic perspective is actually to move on and do work and produce goals, produce issues without requiring a step-by-step human intervention. So if we want to move on with this, human intervention, I'm sure many of you will know there is the 10, 80, and 10 rule, right? So 10%, 80%, and 10% rule. So in the 10%, that's where you do the prompting. That's where you basically, conceptualize what you want AI to do for you, and the agents basically to move on. That is basically, you have to be very clear in terms of, what you are asking for. The 80% is actually when the technology works it out and bringing it out from what you are asking for, or maybe from what basically the technology understands you are asking for. And the last 10% is for you to basically say, yes, this is correct, or this is not correct. And a lot of people have found it. One of my sons have found at one time, and he was, telling me when he asked the questions and so on, the AI came out with, very wrong perspectives. And he had to say to the AI, no, this is not what I wanted. And the AI basically apologized. It said, no, I'm sorry, I will try it again. So that's part of it. And so very quickly, another 2 minutes. Nigeria is doing very well. And I'm sure you can see, sometimes a lot of people will send out information, even university students. I'm not talking about everybody. There are a few who basically, can do it. I have also hosted Nigerian high school students, I think earlier this year or so. And some of them were from brilliant schools, basically. And going into question and answer with them, you can realize, what they do. So transparency is one in ethics. Fairness is also another one. And then responsibility and indeed accountability. And that is what happens when you don't do good responsibility, you don't do good accountability, and then like us academics, so we write papers, we publish, but then the papers get rejected. I'm sure you know now that there are so many papers that are actually rejected because of AI component and the misuse of AI. So that is in the news. It's not nothing new. So finally, we need to look at, the agency itself, so in terms of an intelligent system that can plan. But how can that intelligent system plan without us as humans basically telling that system what we need to do? So it can make decisions without us, but again, is that the decision, the outcome of the decision that we are basically looking at? But generally, if you try your best, you ask questions, you tell it what to do, you decide on your perspective, then it can take independent decisions that might be very much, useful. So at the last point, I will again try to reflect, the goodwill message and basically to continue to support, what basically you people, are doing. So whether we are basically here or we are not, we are still part of the city. And again, I will have to convey to you that, really the academic community in Hong Kong is really very much happy with what you do. A lot of people used to come and ask me, "Oh, this is your organization." I said, "No, it's not my organization. I was just invited to be part of it." A lot of people will come to me and say, "Oh, Lawal, this is your organization," but it's not my organization. But I'm very, very happy to be part of it, and I will continue to be part of it if it is necessary, and certainly, whatever the organization or the executives are doing, I will support. And the fact that we are still looking for more students, I think that is really, really, really a nice thing. If there is nothing we can do from here as Nigerians, we must be able to encourage the younger ones from Nigeria to achieve what we have achieved, and probably even to be better than us once they have that opportunity to be where we are. I thank you, and I will be listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Lawal. Thank you so much for your continuous support. And we truly appreciate you for taking the time to also be a part of the forum today. So we're going to, before we move on to the keynote speaker and the guest speaker section, let's all quickly take a photo together. So may I ask everyone to turn on their camera and we can have a quick group photo. Okay.
I just realized that my video was not on when I was talking. It was not intentional. It was a mistake.
Okay.
Take a breath.
Okay. 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's take one more. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you everyone for taking your time to take the photo. So we move on to the next part of today's forum, which is hearing from our guest speaker and our keynote speakers. So the first speaker for today is Dr. Kehinde Oyetunde, and he'll be talking on the gap when it comes to AI, the trust gap, when AI stops generating and starts deciding. So Dr. Kehinde Oyetunde is an engineer and AI systems architect, specializing particularly in agentic AI. And he earned his PhD in artificial intelligence from the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, where his research was mainly on machine learning, optimization, and complex systems. So for his past experiences, he has built applied AI systems across different industries, including finance, enterprise, quantitative research. And he is also a former president of ANSHK and genuinely interested in how AI systems can move from capability to trustworthy, observable, and governable action. So Dr. Kehinde is currently a senior lecturer at the University of Swansea in UK. So I would like to pass the time to him and we can hear what he has for us today.
So thank you so much, Semiat. I think there is a mistake in the notes. So I'm currently an LLM engineer in Unilever, Canada. So yeah, anyways, thank you so
Sorry
much,
about
Semiat, for
that.
the, no worries. Thank you so much for the introduction. Let me share my screen, then we can start. Just hold on. Thank you so much, ANSHK, for this invitation, and then thank you to the community for having me back. The title of my presentation would be the trust gap, and I want to basically talk about like the changes that happens when AI stops like doing some things like generating text, and then it becomes to things that decide, select tools, core systems, and act. I think this talk would also be an eye opener for many people, especially like people who just use AI for maybe academic use. So it's not a prediction talk. It's a talk from the engineering floor, from building agentic systems and evaluation layers needed to keep these agents like accountable. I would like to start by talking about why this audience matters to me personally. This feels more like homecoming to me. HKUST, where I had my PhD, is always and would always be part of my story. NSHK also is always and would always be part of my story. I mean, I served this community as a president in 2022, and then I'm not like speaking to an abstract audience, so many familiar faces. I'm speaking to a room that understands research, institutions, migration, technical ambition, and social responsibility. So this is exactly the type of room that we need for the next phase of AI. Let me begin with confession. So in 2022, when I was wrapping up my PhD, the only worry I had then was whether AI could write me a good paragraph. But now it's just 4 years after, it's a different story entirely. I am more concerned about if and what AI does when I'm asleep. And the reason is because AI has grown to be autonomous. It can do things even without the human in the loop. And AI is the argument of my talk today. So the trust problem actually changes when the AI moves from outputs to actions. So when I mentioned like in 2022, I said that AI was like, I was more concerned about if AI could generate a paragraph. So then it was just AI generating text, but now AI is acting. So with generative AI, it's just like, oh, is this output like accurate? Is it useful? Is it grounded? But the thing is, many people still fall between this role of using generative AI, and then all they care is if it's accurate, if it's like useful, if it's grounded. But the thing is, with agentic AI, it's a different ballgame entirely. And today we're going to see, some of the things that comprises of agentic AI. With agentic AI, we do care more about more about the judgments, the paths, and everything. So Professor Marafa did mention about transparency. So I'm also going to tell you some of the works that have been done within the agentic community to enforce transparency of the system. So I would move through like 4 different ideas, which are delegation, trace, evaluation, and then society. First, let's make sure that we understand what agent means, because to be honest, like I think it's one of the most abused words recently, where I hear a lot of like agent, but is something really an agent or not? So what really makes an agent? So basically, an agent is a model inside a loop, as simple as that. So instead of answering once, the agent can receive a goal. A goal could be like the user prompting the agent to do something. But the agent then is able to like think, choose the next step, use a tool, observe what happens, and decide whether to continue or not. So that loop is the behavior. It might search for something, it might call an API, it might read a file, it might even ask another agent, because we have like agent-to-agent communication. So an agent could go as far as like drafting a report, even place an order in the financial market, or stop and ask for help from the user. The important point here is that the model is no longer only producing response, it is participating in the process. So that actually makes an agent. So, but another distinction is agent different from a chatbot. Many people do mistake this. So some things could be as basic as chatbots, but something that is agentic is quite different. So what actually makes it different is more about the delegated choice. An agent has its mind of its own. Then it can select its own paths. It can select its own tools. It can carry states from one step to another. It can use intermediate results to decide what to do next. That is actually very powerful, because it means that we need to understand and then be able to guide the system truly. We are not only trusting a sentence, we are trusting the behavior. And that behavior needs boundaries. Where does it stop? Where does it refuse? Where does it ask? Where does it escalate? From an engineering point of view, this has a recognizable shape. So I'm going to talk to you more about how agents are being built. So it's not not going to just be like you become like users of agents. You understand how most agents have been built. To be honest, like no matter how complex agents are and in the last 1 year, I've built over like 15 different agents in production and used by actual users. But in all these agents are actually assembled by basically 6 different components. So we have the model. So the model is actually that reasoning engine that interprets like the goal and the context. So they are the instructions. The instructions could be like the prompt that is given to the agent. So whether it's the sub agent or the main agent, we have the state, the orchestrator that runs the loop that I did show earlier, and then we have like the guardrails that actually defines the approvals, the limits, the refusals, even evaluations and monitoring and escalation. But I want to emphasize on that last part, because guardrails are not meant for decoration after the agent is being built. They're actually part of the agent itself. Once tools get even closer to the real world, which actually they are at the moment, because now you have agentic systems that can do different things. You could set up an agent that maybe reads your email and then acts based on the email. Does it even send you a WhatsApp message? Does it even reply the email itself? So now it's getting much closer. Now we need to understand that the stakes in agentic AI has changed, because agent now sits like on a spectrum. On one end, we have agents that can answer a question. Like, I mean, it's very simple. Can research, can summarize, can compare, can explain. And then you have agents that could like draft something for a review. Then you have an agent that could operate inside the system. So one of the agents that I've worked on was an agentic solution that actually takes like tickets, knows what to do with the ticket, address the different actions. Sometimes it could schedule even a meeting or even send an email. And now we have even more consequential agents, like a transaction agents that could even trade the financial markets for you. Because like, for instance, like the human is actually very flawed because of the emotions. Now you have agents coming in and then replacing the entire thing. At the far end, the agents could continuously run inside rules, monitoring, and escalation. But there's something that is very important. It's a social question. It's not just simply agent or no agent. It's what level of autonomy that we accept for different domains. And with these stakes, under what safeguards are we going to like put in place? So actually, this is just to give you an insight into what we want to talk about today. So now the title of the presentation today is the trust graph. So the truth is, and then if you've also like seen this, is that the capabilities is actually accelerating. We have this joke that we say in the agentic space. We say 6 months feels like 10 years, which is true. What capabilities that agents could do, maybe, or even LLM models as simple as possible could do like 6 months ago is different from what it could do now. Every day we wake up and we are being marveled with the capabilities of these agents, but there's something that is not growing at the same rate as the capabilities of the agent is improving. It's the verification. So you would see like the green line shows like conceptually what agents could do is conceptually increasing, but the amber line at the other side it's actually improving, but it's not at that rate. So you can see like a gap. So the space between these two is the governance depth. So it is where the polished answers that you get can hide like very bad parts. It is where useful autonomy can outrun institutional accountability. So my claim is that a serious agentic system that is meant to be built has to be built within this gap, not even around it. So let's make this like concrete with systems that have been building, because like it feels so abstract without showing you something real. So for example, this is an example of a very simple answer agent. So it's the market intelligence agent. So it basically takes a research question and then turns it into like a workflow. So I did run something. I asked it to compare the performance of NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel. So basically, this agent would first of all, from the natural language I gave it, it would resolve the companies. It would retrieve like the filing metadata. It would try to like index the filing, search the content, and then call the like, financial metrics. But here you could see that the agent actually took like 43 seconds, cited like 30 different sources. Then it was called like 18 tools, and then I can see like the execution of traces, and then it compared all these 3 companies. So the point is not that the agent is perfect. The point is that even with even a text answer is now the output of a delegated work. So many things happen behind the scenes. So the answer alone is not enough evidence. So now Professor Marafa talked about transparency, and then I did mention that I would talk about what makes transparency in the agentic system very important, and then how we've been doing it. So we do capture the traces behind the transactions of an agent, from where you ask the question to where you get what happens in that agent loop. So for example, in that case, you would see like initially the agent would resolve the companies. How many companies is it in this particular prompt? We have complete visibility over that small part. The metadata it fetched, we have complete visibility. The files it downloads, we see like what goes in, what comes out. So all this gives a path to governance checkpoints. It tells us where the agents could have made a wrong turn, used the wrong source, skipped evidence, or become overconfident. So that was one answer agent. The larger work is something else. It's a much larger stack underneath the autonomous agent. So this is something that I've been building and then working on. So this is QuantOptimus is an agentic infrastructure, and then it combines like so many things. It combines like the data infrastructure, research agent, trading intelligence, autonomous orchestration into like one governed agentic system. So it has like the Q data that provides like the market data. It has some intelligence agent, which MIA, TIA, and that's Sumi, who exposes the market intelligence to the trading desk. So what I just want you to understand from here is you don't need to read this card. The important point here is that autonomy does not begin with just a prompt. It begins with infrastructure. Now, this is some screenshot from the agentic solution. So you would see like I call it the war room. So the war room is an autonomous trading monitor with specialist agents. So for example, we have Alex. Alex is an agent, but Alex here is the portfolio manager who manages the DEX. We have specialist agents who are not just like one prompt. They have like specific roles, they have tools, they have responsibilities. And then humans are always factored in the loop, which the agent communicate with humans via Telegram or even WhatsApp. But this is important. The autonomous does not necessarily mean that something is unbounded. In a serious system, autonomy is designed with roles, with authority, and interruption points. So the interruption point here is the human in the loop. The key design choice was not that agents could just talk. It was that they had a protocol that they must follow. So the important design choice was the workflow that the agents have to obey, which is the protocol. So for example, in this particular example, the agent would definitely like consult each other. They could propose an action. They could do different things. So for example, in this case, there are like 34 events which are actually recorded, captured. So you see that that this protocol is different from agent just chatting, and then autonomous work can actually be audited. It's not just going to be, oh, we trust the agent to do something that is right, and then you put like $1 million, and then you wake up next day, the money is gone. If there are no protocol, then there is no reliable trace. If there is no trace, governance becomes like storytelling after the fact. So this is the clearest example. So next, I want to show you the clearest example of governance and in an example like this. So we did build like a risk gate for this particular solution, where we built like another risk manager who is in charge of like monitoring everything. But even this risk manager itself is an agent, but its job was just to say yes or no. So there are cases where maybe the trader agent actually proposed something, and this risk manager will say no, this is not going to fly. And there are cases where it's going to accept and then let it go. But I think this is why I think I need to mention that the evaluation parts and how the different risk gate works is important. So we have to evaluate behavior, not just the answers generally in injective systems, and then we build like some solutions around it. So in this chart, you would see that in terms of like when you're looking at just the output alone, you're looking at if something is correct, if something is complete, if there is some accuracy there. But without seeing the transactions behind the systems or having something review the entire conversations, you can't see things like is it following the right path? Is the path that it's following to answer a particular question, is it correct? Is does it have enough information like trace depth, like in the sense that it's not just hallucinating and just giving you an answer without like actually doing the work. So all these are things that we do look into and then we enforce when we are building agentic system, because a very honest evaluation is not often that's comfortable, because you have to like go deep and then you don't have to like do things in the on the surface. So yeah, here is an example of like an honest evaluation case whereby we did build a system and then we ran it several times, but we noticed that the win rate was very low. But how did we figure out and how did we like troubleshoot the issues? It was from the transparency that we built around the system, that we were able to capture all the transactions, and then we were able to like pinpoint the exact issues that that was happening. So once you see like failure modes this way, then the question becomes like more interdisciplinary, in the sense that you have every discipline that sees different failure modes like in different ways. For example, as engineers, we only care about what we observe and what you can reproduce. But someone in law would actually care about who is liable and then the dedicated action that causes the harm. But someone in sociology would actually think differently, and the person would ask how the communities avoid blind trust and then blanket rejection. So you see that different disciplines would actually see different differences in the failures, and then that means if this is true, then that means the autonomy should not actually be one default settings like we most likely take it. So this is like a very simple chart that shows like the domain stakes, how different domains should set autonomy. For example, if you build like an agentic tutor that teaches maybe math, science, or anything, the cost of error is not much, but you really don't want a very high cost of error for a clinical triage agent who can say, oh, you have just like a call and say, oh, this is liver cancer. So the cost of error is actually very high. So based on the cost of error, we need to actually start looking at how we set the default autonomy for the different agents. So for very sensitive cases where you know that there are too many things at stake, then you have to make sure that you set like or even reduce that default autonomy that you allow for such cases. We've talked about like many things about like how we build agents and then how we set autonomy and how we make use traces to evaluate the agentic performance. But the thing is, I want to talk here is when we try to like look at the standards and then be able to like set all these benchmarks to know we are actually tracking and the various capabilities of agents across board. The thing is, we need to like even build judges like that actually look at all these transactions, all these traces, and then they use it to figure out like some issues. But the truth is, like the standards for this agentic AI are actually being written right now by different people. But the question is, if we let like people who don't know about like our own internal cases, issues to write all these things, then we actually miss out on different on different opportunities that that is possible with agentic AI generally. So now the thing is, we should not only position ourselves as users of this feature, we should also try to enforce standards. When you're building like systems, you're building like tools, or you just want to like build agents, try to like have like a very clear governing policies around how you build your systems. For example, I did mention about trying to close that trust gap by being by being as transparent as possible, record your traces, evaluate the performance of your agents, and then be able to like go in and then troubleshoot if there are issues. So generally, we need to start translating all these technical realities into more social consequence, so that like the public conversation that we are having will not be only left to like vendors or big bodies, but we can also like influence what we can get out of it. So the agentic future actually needs builders, not just engineers who would make like all these builders. We need like people who would evaluate, people who are from like different communities on the same table. So and then the reason behind this is you would see like different agentic systems are actually being used by normal people. So you need them to come in to be able to like weigh in into the conversation generally. So I think at this point, I would encourage everybody to actually bring in their discipline generally to the field of agentic AI evaluations, and then demand to see the traces, especially in very sensitive systems. Don't just accept, oh, that this is just the output and then that it's fine. Ask to see all the transactions, what actually happened between your question and then the answers that you get. So try to claim a seat at the standard setting table. Otherwise, like whatever is being dished out to you, even if there are like some biases there, you just like accept it. So that would be like a very short talk on this topic. I did go through on as fast as possible while trying to like keep note of time. I'm actually happy to like go deep into any of those parts, whether it's like the agentic development, the evaluation, the traces, or even like the autonomous systems that I've worked on, if you are interested. So thank you so much for inviting me once again. And then this is like from a member to the community. Let's actually work hard and build like that feature that is worth trusting through agentic AI. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Kennedy, for this amazing talk. I didn't even know the time already passed by so quickly. Yeah, thank you for highlighting the importance of transparency once again and tracing the the execution path of the agentic system. So I know a lot of you must have questions for Dr. Kehinde, but we'll take all questions together at the end of the plenary session. So after all the guest speakers conclude with their presentation, then we can you can ask your questions. So you can write it down for now so you don't forget. So moving on, I would briefly introduce the next guest speaker for today. So the next guest speaker is Dr. Ifunanya Rejoice, and Dr. Rejoice is a doctoral research fellow in the Department of Real Estate and Construction at the University of Hong Kong at the moment, and her research focuses mainly on energy conversion, and her broader research experience integrates pollutant remediation, materials development, and resource recovery. So mainly transforming environmental waste into high-value materials, catalysts, and fuels. So before her postdoctoral commitment, she earned her PhD from the Hong Kong Baptist University with a focus on environmental catalysis. And her work emphasizes valorization processes and closed-loop strategies for waste to resource conversion and sustainable product development. So at the moment, beyond academia, she also runs an environmental advocacy group, and she actively mentors youth and emerging scientists, fostering research skills, sustainable practices, and professional confidence. So we would like to invite Dr. Akaniro to share what she has for us today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Semias, for the beautiful introduction. And my surname is Akaniro. Yeah. I want to thank the NSHK team, the executives and the research committee in particular for the invitation to present at this forum. And also, I want to acknowledge the presence of Prof. Marafa and Dr. Kehinde and other keynotes, other guest speakers that are here present. So I'll be making my presentation on agentic AI in scientific research. So my background is from the sciences. Dr. Kehinde spoke on, he gave some back-end information on agentic AI. So for me, I'm a scientist, so I would not be delving into the back-end details. So I would just be sharing with you on how these tools can be deployed in the scientific field. So what are the opportunities, what are the limitations, and what are the ethical issues that needs to be addressed. And here's the outline of my presentation. I'll be talking on the global adoption of AI in research generally, also from tools to agents, what has the progression been like? Then I'll focus on the agentic AI in research, and what are the opportunities in research, what are the challenges, ethical governance, and what is the direction. So some of this has been Dr. Kehinde has touched on some of these aspects. Yeah, he talked on the future direction from the engineering perspective. So I'll also be talking on the science perspective, which actually is not so distinct. So I have here some statistics on AI use generally. And we have to, I believe we have to take note of what the situation is like. So in 2025, it was reported that AI usage this is in academia jumped up from 57% to 84%. So this is like a 29% increase in 1 year. And this is the fastest thing that has ever happened in academia. Now, 85% of these researchers said this AI tool has helped to improve their efficiency. And also, 3/4 reported that they've been able to enhance their the quality and quantity of their work through this AI and AI agent. Now, a survey of about 6,250 scientists. So this is quite representative because you can see the sample size is quite large. In Max Planck Institute did find out that scientists expect that AI is going to revolutionize academia in the next decade. Autonomous AI systems like ChemCrow, co-scientists have reduced the reaction optimization cycles. So as a scientist, if you want to optimize your research in the lab, this is something that takes months. But now what used to be months can be done in weeks, according to this report. So this is quite, this is a win for us in the science field. But also there are some clauses that we have to pay attention to so that we don't enter into trouble at the end of the day. So a lot of other uses, AI use in literature review also has has reported to help to summarize 10,000 research papers in 24 hours. So this is normally something that would take years. If I want to do a literature review of 10,000 papers, it's going to take me at least 1 year. But now in 24 hours, you can do this with this AI agent. So and lots of other similar reports. And if you look at the right-hand plot, you could see how scientists are using this tool in different areas. Some are using this for translation, for proofreading, for brainstorming and ideation, also for reviewing large amounts of information, that's in peer review, and also discovering the latest research output. So these are the areas where these tools are being employed. Also, these are other scenarios currently. You can check through all of this later. I share my slide later. But what is the outlook? I want to really stress on the statistics now that has been highlighted for the outlook. And it says that by 2035, these agents could handle up to 70% of routine experimental tasks. And this helps us as scientists. Like I said, it's a win. It's a win-win, but also a two-edged sword. So this helps us to work more efficiently, but then there are clauses that we have to pay attention to. Now, what has been the progression? So here I'm talking of how we've progressed from the past and what is the future like. So if you look at the image shown here, you could see what has been. So it's been we've gone from an era of manual execution where we do things manually. We do each task manually, right? We moved to the AI era, where now AI came in and began to assist in some of the tools, in some of the tasks we do. But then this traditional AI assistants are not the distinction from the agentic AI, like Dr. Kehinde has mentioned. The agentic AI are active. The traditional AI are proactive. So they will depend on you to give a prompt almost all the time. Once you give a single prompt, it gives you a single output. You have to give another prompt. But now with the agentic AI, that you can give a single prompt and you get a series of coordinated tasks being coordinated at once by this agent. So this is where we have where we've come from and where we are going to. So in the future, we expect that there's going to be more of a collaboration. So it shouldn't be that we are surrendering our power to AI, but it should be like a collaborator. So that is what we expect in the future. Work with AI as a co-scientist for us in the science field and for others also in other field. Now, agentic AI, how has this okay, so what happens when AI tools, they just stop acting like a tool now and become a collaborator? So instead of where you have to give a prompt and you get a response, what now happens if these tools have to be actively involved in your research or in science? So we expect certain outcomes. Number one, we expect a research acceleration. So of course, we get to do our research faster. The speed is enhanced. We expect adaptive experimentation. Before, when you research, for instance, in the lab, you get some result. You design experiment, execute the experiment, get your result, and now from the result you can see if you have to readjust your experimental flow. But now with the agentic AI, the work becomes adaptive. So at each stage of the experiment, you could see if the response is going to be faulty, and you could make your changes, your adaptation as earlier in the flow as possible. And now we expect more collaboration, more collaborative creativity. So now AI agents can give you ideas, on areas to experiment, to explore, on novelty. So before the novelty of our research it's heavily on us to be able to come up with something that is, that we make this research widely acceptable. But now AI can give us ideas on what is expected and what makes research more interesting. Also, we have a shift in scientific roles, but then this comes with some ethical and governance challenges. So if you look at the figure here, you would see, let me highlight. So from this, you could see this is what used to be. So for instance, an oncologist has to feed, an oncologist researcher has to feed you have to develop the research idea, then you pass this to a scientist who develops the hypothesis and design the experimental flow. Then from there, you pass another scientist take over to execute the research in the lab. And another one who is a critic or a reviewer has to review, the outcome and see if there are areas that need adjustment. But now we don't have to do this manually anymore with the agentic systems. So an agentic AI can work as both the ontologist, sends the prompt to the planner, to the critic, to the scientist. So it's basically taking over all the previous role we used to do manually. But then if you look at this, you will see that the human input is still very important, because we cannot just surrender completely to AI. We have to be involved too, because our own judgment and oversight are very much important. So what are the opportunities in research? Here I've highlighted some areas for some opportunities for those of us in scientific research and maybe non-scientific research as well. So these tools have been reported to play roles in automating of literature reviews, hypotheses, design and execution of experiments, to analyze complex data sets, and even to prepare your manuscript drafts. So all these things we used to do manually, the agent can execute these coordinated tasks for us. And this makes our work less time consuming. Also okay, so this is some tools that I've highlighted for specific areas of research. So as I've mentioned in previous task that in the previous slide, that this agent helped to automate literature reviews. So these are some of the agents that has been recently developed for literature review. We have the Scilit LLM and the Lit Search. So I have the references to this. You can check out these materials, and you could also see how you could use this agent for your own research. But then this research have been reported to help in filtering and summarizing vast bodies of literature, up to 10,000 in 24 hours. And they also help to, organize aside getting the literatures compared, they can see the trend, they can synthesize the idea, then give you the output. So in chemistry, here are other tools that have been developed in biology, in material science, in general science. So these agents are domain specific. They are domain specific. You could check them, provided the reference here, so you could check them and to see how you can benefit from any of these agents. So they are not just, this is not just a literature search agent. This is also agent for other aspects of your research, like the execution, the data analysis, etc. So here I talked on the agent for data analysis. We have the PROT agent in the protein research. For those who are in protein research, there is a PROT agent that helps to organize your folding result, your protein fold result. Also in catalysis, the agent that helps for to analyze your data on conversions and catalysis and conversions and material synthesis and production, production quality assessment. So these agents these are some of them here, which you can check out later. Now, having mentioned this, what are the challenges and what should we do? What do we have? What are the limitations and what needs to be done to help us to, be able to use these tools more responsibly? Now, despite the promises, these are the challenges. Dr. Kehinde and Prof. Marafa did talk on the reliability and the reproducibility. So a research, according to GRIDAC in 2025, they've been able to use a Lit search agent, and they've reported that the output is not consistent. So there's a problem with reproducibility. And this is where the human role has to come in. The human judgment also has to come in. We don't have to delegate or trust the AI agent completely. Also, there are biases in the training data. the data with which the agent was trained can influence what kind of output is producing at the end of the day. So if the data used is faulty from the beginning, then you expect that every of the execution is going to be faulty. So and you cannot trust this kind of result output. Also, the interpretability is also challenging, because now when you have to, as humans with expertise in the field, there are sometimes that some situations are not so ideal. Maybe what you are used to, and you are getting a deviation from the ideality. Now the AI will not be smart enough, depending on how you've trained it. The AI agent will not be smart enough to tell you there is a deviation from ideality. It will want to force itself, according to how it's been trained, to give you output that will suit you. But then, if you as the scientist still do your part by exercising your judgment on such data or such output, you'll be able to pinpoint errors and be able to address them effectively. Also, generalizability is a problem because the tools are domain specific for now. So like I've mentioned, some of these tools, like for the science, the tools for someone in chemistry, like the ChemCrow and the Organa, you cannot use them in biology because they've been trained to perform specific tasks that are science related. So there is no cross-disciplinary prospects with this tool. Maybe there'll be prospects, but for now there is no cross-disciplinary benefit or agent that we can use for cross-disciplinary studies. But like I said, sorry, the word prospects should not be there, because in the future we could have such agent. So now the ethical governance issues border on accountability. Prof Marafa mentioned that during his presentation. So you have to be accountable, in as much as maybe you're delegating some part of your task to the agent, you have to still be accountable. And he mentioned the 10-80-10 rule. So for the first part of the 10%, you have to prepare the task. You have to start the task on your own. Then you feed it to the AI to execute. That's 80%. Then the outcome of this execution, you still have to use your human insight to interpret and to judge. So that is very important. Then transparency as well. You have to be transparent, because that is really an issue. Most people don't want to declare that they use AI agents or AI tools generally for their work, so which is a problem. So we have to be as transparent as needed, as possible for in use of these tools. The human oversight I've mentioned, very important. Also, equity. There should be access. That should be unrestricted access to these tools, irrespective of your institution, your geographical location. Everyone should have equal access to these advanced workflows. And what does the future hold for us? Looking ahead, the multi-agent collaboration across discipline could unlock cross-disciplinary breakthroughs. So like I mentioned, right now, we don't really have much cross-disciplinary agentic systems. But in the future, we look forward to having such systems that could help us to work alongside other researchers. Also, as the systems mature, the real measure of success will be whether the agentic AI systems strengthens the integrity of science while expanding its reach. So it's not just about how fast we can do our work. There are some other clauses. The integrity should not be tampered with. So these ethical issues should not be tampered with, in as much as we want to adopt these systems. Now, the future scientists may not be human or machine alone, but a partnership where agentic AI amplifies human insight without replacing it. So I'm using the may clause because we are not really sure what will happen. But in an ideal situation, it should be a collaborative system where human participation should not be surrendered completely. Then closing this chapter, agentic AI should be seen as a catalyst for better science. Faster, yes, but also more reliable, ethical, and creative. So we should not just be concerned about the speed or the output we are getting. We should also look at all these ethical issues and make sure that we are addressing them as promptly as needed. And it is only then that we could say, yes, these tools, these agentic systems have really advanced the frontiers of research. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akaniro. So sorry. Thank you so much, Dr. Akaniro, for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing the insights on the impact of agentic AI in the science field and how AI is now being used as a collaborator, but we also need to think about the ethical aspects as well. Thank you so much. So, like I said earlier, whatever questions you have for Dr. Akaniro, please save it for until the end of this plenary session. So now I'm going to briefly introduce our second guest speaker for today, in the person of Dr. Olutomilayo. So Dr. Olutomilayo is currently a researcher at City University of Hong Kong, and she is an artificial intelligence and machine learning researcher, specifically interested in computational health, clinical bioinformatics, and applied data science. And she's worked both in academia and industry, and she has contributed to startup funding for the integration of health and finance here in Hong Kong. With her research, she hopes to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all in line with the SDG. And she is also an associate member of the Hong Kong Computer Society. So that's a brief introduction, and we're going to invite her to share what she has for us today.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good day. And my name is Olutomilayo Olayemi. And I would like to say thank you to all our previous speakers. Personally, I've learned a lot. And special thanks to Professor Marafa. Thank you for always being available for us. So today I will be talking about from tool to agent. How agentic AI is reshaping ethical governance and societal readiness. And yes. So this is a shift. There is a shift from generative AI to agentic AI. Majority of us, we use ChatGPT, and you want to produce text, you want to produce images, you go to ChatGPT or any of these AI tools. But then we have agentic AI, which can set goals, which can plan, it can execute multi-step task. And we have, so the difference between generative AI and agentic AI is that generative AI, it is stateless. That is, there's no memory between prompts. You might be looking at the fact that, oh, but my chatbot, when I'm chatting, it can remember like what I said before. But that's because the developer made it such that the previous answer, it is like copied into the new prompt, something like that. So it is stateless, and there is a human in the loop. You have to like put your prompts and everything. It is reactive because it is waiting for the user input. And I've given an example, but we have the agentic AI now. It is persistent. It has persistent memory and context across time, and it may operate with minimal human oversight. It is proactive, and an example is an AI agent that is booking a travel end to end. But nonetheless, generative AI and agentic AI can work together. For example, agentic AI checks the flight tracking API, and it observes that, oh, flight is delayed. And then uses generative AI to draft a polite and personalized apology to the customers. And then this apology is the agentic AI takes care of these and sends the email. You can see that they work hand in hand, although they are, different. So what makes our AI agentic? The first one is goal-directed behavior. The fact that it's working towards a goal. It's working towards a particular goal, and it carries out multi-step instructions just to make sure that this goal is achieved. And also tool use and environment access. You see, for agentic AI, because it has to it's like liaising with a lot of tools. It has access to a lot of environments. So it has access, it calls API, browse the web, it writes codes. So it has to environmental access, and it can use a lot of tools. And memory and contextual. So for agentic AI, when it gives you the output, it reflects on it. It reflects if it is correct. It evaluates its own output, and then it can make corrections. It adjusts accordingly. Then the fifth one is multi-agent collaboration. Like I said, it involves a lot of agents, like a lot of specific agents. The one for maybe writing emails, the one for checking the website. So it involves multi-agent collaboration. So that is the key distinction. Generative AI is a tool. A tool is something you use. So you as the user, you say, oh, do this, do this, do this. Agentic AI is an actor. It does the work for you. So, but then the shift from tool to actor changes everything: accountability, liability, oversight, and our relationship with technology. So I'm going to have a running example called MedAI. I work in the health. I'm a computer scientist, but I focus on health. So our running example will be MedAI, and it is an AI agent that is deployed in a large urban hospital network. So what it does, it triages incoming patients and prioritizes appointment. For example, if you go to the A&E here in Hong Kong, after your registration, the first set of people you meet are the people who will check out your blood pressure, check out if you have fever, and then they see if your case is severe or not. And then, so this is something that can be done automatically. It coordinates between specialist, lab, imaging, and pharmacy. It also monitors the patient's vitals in real time. For example, you come to the A&E, your vitals are maybe still good, but it can be triggered. Maybe it will flare up or something. It monitors it, and then it adjusts accordingly. So it drafts clinical notes, and it can optimize bed allocation and surgical scheduling. And if there is a need to escalate the case, it can escalate it. So this will be our running example for this. And so why healthcare? The stakes are high. Health is very important. Everybody can relate to it. It is a decision that directly affects life. So there is this image beside me. Why almost it was available online just June 11 recently. Why almost all ML models for medicine are wrong, and what we need for evidence-based medical AI. So if you're publishing a paper in the health field right now, you have to put your codes. They really want reproducibility. They want to see your data. They want to see your code. They want to see if it is something that we can use, because like I said, health is very important. And also it is data rich. It is an environment that AI works with data, previous data, a lot of data. The more you have the data, the more you can build what you're building. So healthcare it is data rich. And there are a lot of actors. We have the patients, the clinicians, the insurers, which previously, it was mentioned that I used to work in the intersection between healthcare and finance here in Hong Kong. So it's more about using your health data to determine your insurance, using your healthcare record to determine your insurance policy, something like that. And then the healthcare field, it is regulated, but the current framework lags behind AI. AI is fast-paced. So in healthcare, of course, there are ethics. We have this framework and everything, but then it lags, and we need to catch up. So like I said, it is relatable. Everybody interacts with healthcare. So like I said, we already have our running example. And how this agentic AI works now is that it perceives, it uses sensors. user input. You can have a wearable device, maybe it is recording, taking note of maybe your BP and things like that. So it perceives based on the user input and the database, and then it plans strategy. It plans based on the record, and then it acts. It acts immediately based on that. And by acting, it calls who do I need to which tool do I need to call, system controls and things like that, and then it reflects. So it is a loop. Output evaluation and error correction. So MedAI re-enters the cycle as patient data is updated in real time. And yes, there are a lot of tools that can be accessed: the electronic health record, EHR, lab and imaging system, pharmacy and scheduling APIs. Just that's the let me say, yeah, beauty of agentic AI, the fact that it has access to all this information, and then it can really just do what it has to do. So what we are going to do is we are going to have a real world walkthrough to see how MedAI works. So let's look at a patient arrives. I'm using Mr. Siroma. I think a lot of people who wrote WAEC, I think Siroma has passed his exam now. So Mr. Siroma Chukuma Adekunle, he arrives at the A&E. And then when he arrives at the A&E with chest pain, MedAI can retrieve his electronic health record, prior cardiac history, medications, allergies, which is very important, allergies, in under 2 seconds. And then based on this, there's a real-time triage. It flags high priority based on the vitals and the history. So the current vitals and the history, it flags if it is high priority or not. And then it can order ECG troponin test. This troponin test is used for people with cardiac arrest, is like protein in the earth, something, it's a major test. Okay, that's by the way. And then it notifies the on-call cardiologist even before a human reviews the case. And then another benefit is multi-system coordination. So like simultaneously at the same time, it is, reserving a cardiac care bed. It is alerting the pharmacy for potential anticoagulants. And then there is continuous monitoring. Like I said, once the vitals is like updated, it will reevaluate, it keeps monitoring and reevaluating the plan. And it can also we can have like a documentation and follow up. So it can draft clinical notes. Drafting of these clinical notes, having a system to read clinical notes is actually a very important aspect currently in health research. So what we can see is that MedAI, it completes the task in minutes. What we take human staff hours, like for example, if you go to A&E in Hong Kong, yeah. So what we take a human staff hours, it will complete it in like minutes. But what is the cost? At what cost? At what cost? So the promise of agentic AI in healthcare, efficiency, like I said, it is faster, right? It can automate faster. Error reduction. We can see that, especially for the healthcare field, when we look at, especially for countries whereby the ratio of doctors to patients is like very high, like maybe a doctor has to see like 10,000 patients. And there can be fatigue, which is something that humans can have, but a machine cannot be like fatigued like that in so much so as to make to have errors. So errors can be reduced. I did not say erased, but error reduction. And then we have democratized access available to everyone, irrespective of who you are. Then augmented human capacity. Like I said, doctors might be tired, they are overworked. So this is just to augment human capacity because a machine can work 24/7, right? Accelerated discovery because it has access to, it can carry out continuous research. It has access to the web. It has access to your data. It has access. So accelerated discovery and then personalized service. And this is also another important aspect of health research, which is something I'm also like very interested and involved in, personalized service, because what is going on in my body is different from what is going on in another person's body. So a doctor should not just say, oh, all of you have fever, take paracetamol or something like that. It should be because there might be underlying causes. So yes, agentic AI can help us with that. And so I'm going to skip this because the previous speaker spoke on, I just added it because, yeah, the previous speaker already spoke about AI in research and academia. And I believe that the next speaker will also talk about it, but I would just have to say that agentic AI should not replace the researcher. We've seen situations on LinkedIn whereby maybe papers that were published, and then the first sentence is like, oh, here you go, this is your paper, something like that. And then it's like, it is obvious that it was gotten from like maybe ChatGPT, but you should edit, right? It's helping you, AI is helping you, but you should still do your work. So now coming to the governance gap, accountability vacuum. When MedAI makes a wrong call, who is liable? Who do we hold accountable? Is it the hospital? Is it the AI vendor? Is it the clinician? Or is it even the regulator? So there is a gap. There is an accountability vacuum. Who is held responsible? And also we have consent and data rights. Like I mentioned, healthcare, it deals with a lot of data, and most of these data, they are like personal and things like that. So, and which is a big thing. So consent and data rights, then opacity and explainability, black box. So majority of, so that's why in machine learning, artificial intelligence, we have what we call explainable AI. If you are building a model, we have to understand what is going on. What is going on? We want to know, make it explainable, make it in such a way that we can see the process, the thought process. All right. So, but then there is always a trade-off. We see that the models that are performing well, they are less explainable. But then when you increase the explainability, you want to make it more explainable, they tend not to perform well. So we for people in healthcare research and other aspects, we have to make sure we find the balance and make sure we have high explainability and also a model that performs well. And then cross-jurisdictional gap, which is because agentic AI, it's the different sectors are involved, maybe different hospitals. So there is cross jurisdictional gap. There is compliance blind spot. So then it raises the question: how much agency should AI have? Who benefits? Who bears the risk? And also, can we have both explainability and performance? So look at this scenario: MedAI gone wrong. Biased training data. Maybe it was trained on, this is just an example, maybe trained primarily on people from high income urban area. And so because of that, it assigns lower urgency score to people from maybe undeserved area. And then we have opaque decision making. And because the triage algorithm scoring factors are proprietary. So clinicians trusted the score because overriding them required lengthy documentation. I mean, this is the scoring factors they've been using before, and then they stay with that. And then there is autonomy without oversight. Yes, agentic AI, autonomous system, but then it needs oversight. Like Dr. Kennedy mentioned, there are levels to autonomy. There are levels of impact. For example, health is something that can impact, it can change the course of someone's life. So there should be level to autonomy. And so imagine the policy allows MedAI to issue a discharge recommendation after 8 p.m. because after 8 p.m., they don't want to pay for overtime or something. They are trying to cut costs. And then there's an adverse outcome. So when there is an adverse outcome, who is accountable? There's a lawsuit filed. The vendor says, oh, my model performs well. The hospital says, oh, it is the physician. So who is found liable? So this is one of these are the gaps that in governance for agentic AI. And so that's why I'm going to talk about trustworthy agentic AI, which is actually like a field on its own, trustworthy agentic AI. How do we make our agentic AI to be, more trustworthy? Human oversight by design. Make sure there is a human in the loop for high risk cases, for cases that are like I mentioned, healthcare, like I'm talking about. Make sure there's a human in the loop, and then inclusive design. Inclusive design. So sometimes the training data is not diverse. If you use data just for people in the US or maybe the white Caucasian, let me say Caucasian, how do you expect it to be used for people who are of African descent? All right. For people, for artificial intelligence researchers, we want our models to be robust. We want everybody to be able to use it. But also, we have to make sure that the data that we are using, it is inclusive. And then we have algorithmic auditing. Make sure that it's not just a one-time thing. Okay, the vendor has given you the model, and then there should be algorithmic auditing and also explainability.
Sorry, Dr. Tomilayo. Sorry, we're running a bit
Yes,
behind
my
time.
slide is like
Please
almost
wrap
over.
up. Thank you.
Yeah. So explainability, yes, make sure the model is explainable, dynamic regulation, like I mentioned, AI is dynamic, so regulation should be dynamic, and also distributed liability model. Who is liable for any issue? And this should involve, it should be interdisciplinary. Computer science, the person builds the model, the people in law and policy, they are dealing with the the legal part of it, philosophy and ethics, the medicine and public health, risk stratification, they are the ones that know about the healthcare part of it. So we should make sure that everybody works together to make sure that governance is achieved in agentic AI. And yeah, so just before I wrap up, societal adaptation, are we ready? According to a survey by World Economic Forum, it's going to cost like 92 million jobs will be displaced by 2030, 170 million roles will be emerging. So that's workforce disruption. There's public trust. People are not okay with AI being used as part of their healthcare. And then we have equity, like it is actually a major thing. Bias in training data for healthcare data. So there's that bias. So are we ready? But the major issue is either we are ready or not. AI is here, and it keeps moving, and it is fast paced. So we have to make sure that we catch up, and we have to make sure that we keep in line, with it, and also governance, accountability, everything that needs to be taken care of should be taken care of. And so these are some of the references used for this presentation. And thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tomilayo, for this insight, and thank you for sharing MedAI as a working example. And yeah, we have a better understanding about how agentic AI is in the healthcare industry as well. So now I'm going to briefly introduce the last guest speaker for today. And so the last guest speaker is Dr. Temitope Kehinde, and is currently an RTH postdoctoral fellow in the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. His research also focuses on artificial intelligence and machine learning. And prior to postdoctoral studies, he also gained his PhD in Industrial and Systems Engineering from Hong Kong Polytechnic University. And his recent research integrates advanced analytical and optimization techniques to solve real-world problems in manufacturing, finance, operations management, and intelligent decision-making systems. So I would like to invite Dr. Temitope Kehinde to share what he has for us.
I join the previous speakers in extending the women's greetings to the patron, the ESCOs, and my co-speakers, and the general audience. So my name is Temitope Kehinde, and I will be presenting on the topic agentic AI as a research assistant, transforming literature review, data analysis, and scholarly decision making. Please, I'm so sorry. I just have to apologize that you may be hearing some background noise. Please, I don't have any other choice because I tried other means, but it couldn't work. So it's going to be like some background noise from my baby. I'm so sorry for that. Okay, so agentic AI as a research assistant. So the first thing people will felt like, okay, why do I call agentic AI research assistant? It is a research assistant, and I'm going to tell you the reason. The reason is, if you need a research assistant, you need somebody who can work along with you to achieve a goal. You understand? You hold the goal, but you want somebody that can work along. And to get that person who can tell me what precisely are you going to do, that means I'm going to employ someone like, okay, let me hire a research assistant. So my very self, about 3 years ago, I decided that I'm no more doing free. So I have to hire a research assistant. That is a LLM, agentic AI. So every month I subscribe and I pay about $20, $25 for my mobile. So to me, paying that $25 every month to use my LLM, to use my ChatGPT, to use all this AI, because I pay a lot of money for these AI-related assistant tools. So I believe I'm using them as a research assistant, because same thing I could have employed someone for is what I'm using the AI for. So definitely is a research assistant. So this is going to be the outline of my presentation, and much has been said by the previous speakers. So I may not dwell much on some slide, and I may also dwell some, like little or some slide, because much has already been said already, just for me to make some addendum. Okay, so yeah, so what's going to be the transition? This transition has always been like the whole world is moving from what's called code execution to intent. So in the past, it has always been like code, to get result. But nowadays, we come with the intent to get result and not code again. So just like I said, that we move from code to intent, from syntax to intent, but things have changed because in the past, if you are not probably, grounded in programming, you cannot use all these programming tools. But today, you don't need to learn programming to use all these agentic AI. All you just need to be able to type just your normal natural language. With that alone, agentic AI will give you that a professional is going to code for you. So the world is getting easier with agentic AI. And now I came out with these statistics that I got from reliable sources. As you can see, so this is this year's statistics by Osman Ektar, 2026. They are Google researchers. So they said that 85% of professional developers are using AI agent for coding. So if 85% professionals are using AI agent for coding, who are you as a non-professional not to use AI for coding? AI agent. So you are the one losing, because those who are even grounded in these coding skills are also using agentic AI to code. So also, there's also a study that says that 51% of programmers, they use this agentic AI daily. And another study say that 41% of new code generated nowadays are just AI-based, AI generated. So yeah, this has been the evolution. The evolution started in 2021 to the present time, and it's continued like that to the future. So and the evolution started with autocomplete. I believe we all know what autocomplete is like. When you're typing on your phone, when you to type, maybe birthday, and you type bet, and it completes it for you. You understand? So, and also I believe some of us are used to using Jupyter and VS Code, and I know in VS Code and Jupyter, when you are typing some code, it will also help you complete and ask, can I complete? And probably just click yes or tap forward. So, and from there, it moves towards code suggestion. VS Code also, it does this a lot, like it suggests code for you while typing. So, and from there, we go to the chat-based, that's like LLM. And today, the present time, we are now into autonomous agent, where you can just give an instruction and the agentic AI will work from A to Z for you without requesting for, a subsequent instruction. So why do you need this AI as a agentic AI as a research assistant? Yeah, a research conducted by Bora et al. 2017 says that you need 7 weeks to do a rigorous systematic review. Now, another statistics by International STM says that 5 million peer-reviewed articles are being published every year. So if I need more than a year to write a systematic review as a sole author, and 5 million are being published. So if I'm reviewing all the papers for this year, by the time the year complete, when I'm done with my review, that means another 5 million papers have already been published. So I'm losing. That means I'm not current. So if you want to be doing things manually, that means you'll be lagging behind. So the best is to embrace AI and make sense out of it and make and be productive using it. So that's one of the reasons why this agentic AI is very, very important. So, and what's exactly agentic AI? I think that's been done by previous scholars, so I won't bother explaining what is agentic AI. But three things you should note, and this has already been said too, like agentic AI is goal-oriented, it makes use of tools, and it corrects itself. And that will lead us to this loop that shows how agentic AI works. It perceives a goal. When you give it instruction, the prompt you give it, make it have the goal. Then when it perceives the goal, it observes the result, it acts, and it also plans the steps. So this gives a kind of general loop of how agentic AI works. And this side-by-side comparison shows the difference between the LLM and the agentic AI. LLM are the normal ChatGPT you use, the cloud, the maybe like all these POE and the likes. So those ones are called LLM or generative AI. Why the agentic AI is all this, like for example, maybe some of, I don't know, agentic AI can be like, for example, all these Cursor and the likes, Olama and the likes. So those ones are the agentic AI. There are a lot of them. I use Codex personally, so people use different kind of agentic AI. So if you want to know the difference, you can see one takes in prompts and answer just once. But in terms of agentic AI, it doesn't just take prompt and answer. We take that as a goal, where you have to think of how to execute that goal, the tools to use, and the results to give, and also to cross-check. So you can, based on my presentation slide, you can probably just see the difference. But the main thing that matters that actually make agentic AI distinct is that it actually cross-check itself to see whether it's right or wrong. So, and this also is a loop. I think one of the speakers already discussed this, so I won't bother wasting time. So now, as a researcher, let's assume, just as an example, that I want to do a review, a systematic review, a bibliometric review, or any other kind of review. So yeah, you have your agentic AI to use, or AI agents. Some people call it AI agents, people call it agentic AI. It's the same thing. So you think of what are the database to use. You can think of PubMed, you can think of API. So if you have PubMed, that means you need API. PubMed, that's the tool you need to connect with the agentic AI to works. And also, if you are using programming to make some, for example, can use how to make all these diagrams, and also Python too. So you also need that's also one of the tools we need. Maybe for generating references, you may also need Zotero, and some of these are also free. And also, and with all those things, you're able to have a structured output as a researcher. I did this. I'm going to show you one of the papers I did using this method. So, okay, let me skip this. This has been done. So how do you use agentic AI for literature review? Let's say you have 200 papers to review, and you only need the quality papers among the 200. That means you need to read each paper one after the other to get the 18 best paper. But with agentic AI, you can actually, get the best 18 papers without stress. I mean, just give it, though I doubt, and I start to be corrected, that any agentic AI can take 200 papers and not give you some random results. So it's better just take it maybe in batches. If I personally usually use like 20, 30, or maximum 50. So you can just do those papers in a folder, you understand, and connect your agentic AI with the folder. Ask them, okay, read the papers. You can read all the manuscript one after the other, generate this thing out of those papers, and give me a structured table. I'm going to show you one example of the table I made using that. So here's an example I can make it. So if you look at this, ideally, you're supposed to do this one step after the other if you are doing it as individually, like by yourself. But using agentic AI, you only need to make the first step and check the last step to see whether you get a valid result or not. So this has been done, so I won't talk much on this. So for data analysis, yeah, this is a very interesting area of agentic AI. Many of us don't know how to code. So when we have to do data analysis, we're always like stuck and all that. So all this agentic AI, you can actually use it to generate plots, analyze, get the kind of distributed statistic, carry out ANOVA and all that. And for example, let me tell you what I did with this agentic AI that actually makes sense for my postdoc. So for the work I'm doing, we have no data available, and we have to use data to execute the model and all that. So what did I do? I actually checked some existing papers. So those existing papers did not release their code. So what did I do? But every paper, at least if they did not release the code, so they did not release their data. So since they did not release their data, I was able to get what's called like all this like a summary table, like the statistics of the data from those existing papers. So I gave those descriptive statistics table to my agentic AI that, okay, look at these tables. This is the statistics of this particular area. Let me generate 500 data based on the discrete statistics such that the 500 data can give me the exact, discrete statistics that I'm getting from this paper. So with that means, and I was able to generate those data. I was able to run them, carry out their own the synthetic data discrete statistics, and I was able to get the same result as those paper I got from databases. So what I'm trying to say is, like, look at how we're able to. Even my supervisor was very happy when I brought in the idea of generating synthetic data using agentic AI. So, and I also plot graph and all that using the same data set. So that's one of the things you can use agentic AI for as a research assistant. Yeah, let me skip this. So, and scholarly decision making, that which is the last part. Okay, so when you talk about the scholarly decision making, what you should be able to judge whether the results you get from your agentic AI output are actually what you need or not, because there is all this issue of hallucination, sometimes explainability issues and all that. So there is a need for you to decide. Agentic AI will not be the one to give you the final verdict, though you can also ask him to, probably like troubleshoot itself, or probably you ask it to query itself whether the result is valid or not. But at the same time, as human, you're supposed to make the final judgment. So look at this now. The agent ranked your papers and drafted your methodology. Who is accountable for the submission? You are the one accountable for the submission every time, because you own the ultimate judgment. And I talk about the toolkit, because these toolkits are what actually connects your agentic AI to perform some tasks. For example, you want to carry out what is called sentiment analysis. You want to get data online, maybe like Twitter data or maybe like Facebook. I want to know where the sentiments fall. Is it positive, negative, or neutral? So doing that, then you have to get a kind of toolkit that can help you generate those sentiments. You have to get maybe APIs or anything that can actually connect to the internet and generate those results for you. So the toolkit is one of the powerhouse of agentic AI that even make it more distinct than using LLM. So now, what are the kind of toolkits you can consider? Well, these are just some. So, but most importantly, I will recommend Notebook LM, because Notebook LM in the way sounds like an empty space, that anything you give to it is what it's going to use to give you the output. So let's say, for example, when I talk about the schematic review, you use to generate the schematic review. It is basically extract all the outputs solely on the input you gave it. Unlike LLM that can still use on maybe like memory to generate some hallucinated results. So Notebook LM is more preferred when conducting something like a literature review or systematic review. So this example of the prompt you can give, I don't want to dwell much on this, but the prompt are usually just natural language. There is not a formula, just that I just make it like an example. It doesn't mean like, so just look at the pattern one. I said, you are an academic auditor. I'm telling the agents that you are an academic auditor. From the attached PDF extract, generate the research question of each paper, sample size and population, data collection method, statistical, and the limitation of the papers. I can also add that put this result in the tabular form, like I just did for one of my papers. So yeah, what are the other things to note in agentic AI? Integrity, governance, and limit? This has been discussed by previous scholars, so I won't like to dwell much on it. So yes, most of them have been discussed, and like I said, I would not like to dwell much on them. So yeah, I used to confuse as regards how to get started with agentic AI. I'm recommending this Hugging Face website. It's a fantastic website that's for every inexperienced maybe programmer or anyone that is new to agentic AI can just visit this website and learn. And it's just the first phase of this particular learning platform will take you just, I think, an average of 2 hours. So under 2 hours, at least you'll be guided in about the basics of agentic AI, and that will not and it's even the free website, so you are not paying any dime. So you tend to learn more from that. And like I said earlier, that I may like to share what I've done using my agentic AI. Okay, let me see. Oh, sorry, stop. Okay, so I don't know. Sorry, I'm coming, please. Okay. Okay, I don't know if you can see my screen. So this is one of the table I produced using the Genetic AI. You can see, so I have all these summaries about 80 something studies. And though I won't lie, I didn't get this perfect design in one step. I have to also manually adjust some things to make it better. And also have to verify at random some of the values. So this, like you could see this. So this gave a kind of tabular summary of about 187 studies. We are conducting a systematic review on this study. So this is one of the work I've done using the Genetic AI. And another thing I would also like to share is this app now. So the day I felt like doing this app, I just felt like, okay, for my work, let me also deploy the work. I create a kind of ML model. So I went to deploy. To be candid, that was my first time. And I did these deployments in just one day. So after I had all my code settled down, I just asked the Genetic AI to help me deploy. So, and he wrote the code for deploy, it deployed itself. It also correct itself. It will just ask me for access, and I was granting the access. Yes, and it did everything. So at the point it also encountered some errors, it also correct itself. So those are like the kind of live example of what you can do with agentic AI. So, and some of these things are also integrated into many of the apps you use. For example, to just cap it all, like your VS Code as agentic AI. So if you are using programming, if your programming IDE is like VS Code, you have a free agentic AI integrated in it that you can just use to write. Maybe you write, okay, I don't know, let me write the program of LSTM to predict this, that, and all that. Just give it the right instruction and you get the best output. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Temitope, Dr. Kehinde Temitope. Thank you for your presentation. So now we have come to the end of not the end of our session because we still have Q&A, but I would like to briefly address our presenters, because I know we're running a little behind time. So the timing for your presentation will have to be slightly delayed, but we'll still spare the time for just two questions in case anyone has any burning questions they want to ask the speakers. So is there any question you would like to ask? Does anyone have any particular question? We'll
Yeah.
take...
Oh, sorry. Didn't
Sure,
want to.
sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, first I'd just like to thank everyone for speaking. It's been really wonderful hearing everyone's opinions on such an important topic, I think, but particularly I have a question for Dr. Oluto Milayo. If she could. Yeah, so she spoke a lot about the medical aspect of AI usage, particularly generative AI. So I just wanted to offer a sort of side perspective about surveillance. We talk a lot about surveillance in public health among professionals as well as academics, and it's been a constant discussion on whether or not it is suitable for the HA, for example, in Hong Kong or the Department of Health to put more resources into surveillance, because we've discussed surveillance as such an important element of a society, not just pertaining to health, but in terms of everything ranging from big data to the potential of machine learning. So, but there are a lot of barriers from properly implementing those that expansion into more surveillance, barriers that maybe are related to governance. So with a lot of the pros and cons of what AI has been proven to be able to do, I just wanted your opinion with your vast expertise in bioinformatics, particularly medical bioinformatics, how we can use AI in a way that will allow this sort of ethical issue to be alleviated, because that's a big concern for maybe the governance perspective more.
Thank you so much, Dr. Labib Marafa. So I'll be fast with this. So yes, there's a lot of issues, and that's majorly because healthcare is important. But then what I would say is every all the stakeholders, yeah, that's what I was, this all the stakeholders, they need to come together. So it should not be the medical are doing their own, the computer people are doing their own. Everybody needs to come together and try to agree and work on something that can be implemented. So that would be like the short answer I'll give. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Yeah, thank you for the question, and Dr. Tomilayo for your answer as well. Does anyone else have one? We're taking one last question before we move on to the next session.
There's a question on the chat.
In the chat.
Yeah, in the chat, yes. Where should we draw the boundary between human oversight and AI autonomy?
Yes.
Oh,
From Muchona.
wow.
So any of the speakers can actually answer that.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't see the question. But yeah, anyone.
Okay, I think someone is asking where should we draw the boundary
boundary.
between human oversight and AI autonomy? I mean, any of the speakers can approach the question.
Okay, I'll just
Okay.
like go for that, but going in a quick fashion. So I think drawing the boundaries is more towards like balancing the balancing between like human oversight and AI autonomy. So I think it comes to like just two simple things: the domain itself, and then the cost of error. So based on like my presentation, I did mention like cases like clinical triage cases have very high cost of error. So in that case, you need a lot of human in the loop. Or maybe cases like maybe tutorials, maybe like even very simple like generative text that has very low cost of error, then you could automate as much as possible. So in summary, the domain and then the cost of error would help you draw that boundary.
Okay, I just want to add, during the presentation, I did mention a 10-80-10 rule, which Prof. Marafa equally mentioned. So that rule also should help. The 10% at the beginning, you have to prepare the task and feed into your model. Then it executes it. That's 80% of the task for the model or for your agent. Then at the end, the output, you have 10% of the responsibility to evaluate the output. So somewhere in the beginning and somewhere at the end, I would even add that also in the middle of the execution, you have to also follow through. So you have to be very involved. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Uche, for the question, and Dr. Kennedy and Dr. Akiniro. Akaniro, oh my God, Dr. Akaniro for their responses. So I see we have a few hands raised, but unfortunately we won't be able to get to you. So you can still send your questions through the chat, and we can still try to get the speakers to maybe get a written response later on. But now we'll need to move on to the next part of this forum, which is the parallel sessions where we'll have the presenters present. So the breakout rooms are now open, and we have 4 rooms in total. So room 1 is for science and technology, room 2 is for social science and humanities, room 3 also for social science and humanities, and the last room for engineering and mathematics. So each of the presenters know where they should go and where they'll be presenting. And once again, and I know we're working with the time difference, and most all the presenters are currently in Nigeria. So just want to apologize for the delay in the schedule once again. And we can all start moving into the breakout sessions. Thank you.
Yeah, I was in the group. Yeah, hello, please. If you're here and you are not yet in your respective room, can you let me know? Beloved Justina, which room should it be in? Beloved Afolabi.
Room two, sir.
Yeah, which room, please?
Room two.
Room 2, okay. How about Linus? How about you, Linus?
I'm supposed to be in room 2.
Okay, room 2. Linus.
Yes.
Okay, I've assigned you to room 2. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. How about Fidelia Obonia? Which room? Fidelis Obonia. How about of Afolabi? Lukman. Ishma Dati. Dati, which room should you be in? Hello, Dati. Lukman, engineering maths, okay. How about Afolabi? Linus, I think I moved you to room 2, right? Okay, Fidelia, social sciences, okay. I think any of the social sciences. Do you know the specific room? Because we have social science room 1, room 2, and room 3. Fidelis, do you know the specific room? Are you a co-author? Are you a co-author, can you mention the title of your work if you're co-authoring with someone and the person is presenting in social science? I can help you allocate the room. If not, I will just assign you to any room anywhere, to any of the social sciences room. Ahmad Godwin. Okay. Ahmad is here to join. Nasiru. Nasiru, which room should you be in? Nasiru, which room? You are still mute. You're muted. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, Fidel. Okay. Nasiru. I think I go to. Sorry, yeah.
Table of contents basically going into the introduction of
Hello, Mr. Olanipekun. We can't hear you. Your network is bad. Sorry, please. Sorry, everyone. I think Mr. Olanipekun is having a technical issue. Let's wait for the next 2 minutes and see if he will join back and continue the presentation. If not, Mr. Saminu Mustafa Adikuke should get prepared so that I can share his research.
Thank you. Okay, I don't think we have to wait. I mean, who is the next presenter? Let's move on.
Okay. May I invite Mr. Saminu Mustafa Dikuke? He will be presenting on rheological and physical enhancement of polymer modified bitumen with multi-walled carbon nanotubes as secondary additives, a Bose breaking and response surface methodology optimization study. Mr. Saminu, you may start your presentation. Thank you. Let me stop sharing.
Is he here?
Yeah, he just responded. Mr. Saminu, are you here? Okay.
If the person is not ready, how about?
Let's move to the next person then. Mr. Amadu Godwin, please, you may present. Mr. Amadu Godwin, are you here?
Yes, ma'am, here.
Yeah. Please, you can share your screen.
All right.
Thank you.
Please, can you see my screen now?
It's still sharing. Yeah.
All right. How about now?
Yes. Please put it in full sharing mode.
Can you see it now?
The full screen, please.
Okay, I'm on it. Are you seeing the full screen now?
Yes, please.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amadu Godwin, a biochemistry graduate from Federal University Lokoja, and with a research interest in pharmaceutical chemistry and drug discovery. Today, I'll be presenting on a very important topic titled Antioxidant Evaluation and Machine Learning Driven Bioactivity Prediction in the plant Gogronema latifolium bent leaf. Right. Every day, our body produces what we call free radicals. And these free radicals, if they are in little amount, doesn't cause much harm. And when they accumulate over time, they can lead to what we call oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is the major cause of some diseases such as cancer, heart diseases, diabetes, and sometimes even dementia. And the antioxidant drugs that help to counter this oxidative stress is mostly not available to the people that need it, and sometimes it's also expensive. That is where the plant Gogronema latifolium comes in. This plant, Gogronema latifolium, has been in use for decades. Some has been using it as a vegetable for soup, and it has also been used to treat sicknesses such as diabetes and hypertension. Many research has been carried out on this plant, but then not much research has been done where the crude extract is divided into different portions to know the particular plant property, and that's the gap we want to close. And we also try to bring in different machine learning model, which will help us to predict the bioactivity properties of this plant, thereby speeding up the experimental timeline. We have 4 objectives. The first objective is to fractionate the crude extract into different parts using column chromatography and thin layer chromatography. After that, we'll go further to quantify the antioxidant properties of the plant's scavenging activities of the crude extract and also the fraction, which we label fraction 1 to 4. And thirdly, we'll apply different machine learning models such as random forest, support vector model, extreme gradient boosting model to predict other bioactive plant that we could not work on the lab, such as the antimicrobial activity, anti-inflammatory activities, and the DNA protective activities. And lastly, we also like to test if the integration of AI into our phytochemical or phytochemistry will help to quicken or speed up the timeline of experimental chemistry. Now to methodology. We follow about 5 steps in carrying out this experiment. First, the fresh leaf of the plant Gogronema latifolium were collected from the wild in March 2024, and then it was taken for identification at the herbarium at Federal University Lokoja, where the identity of the plant was confirmed, and then the plant was dried and ground to powder. The pulverized plant was then subjected to methanolic extraction, where we use Susslet extractor to extract the crude extract. After that, we use a silica gel column chromatography to separate the crude extract into different fractions, which we label fraction 1 to 4. And then we use thin layer chromatography to confirm each of these fractions. Then we move to the first step, which is the confirmatory test, where we test for the DPPH assay and the hydrogen peroxide assay. And then using ascorbic acid as standard, we were able to measure the percentage inhibition of the crude. We fed in this data that we get from our machine learning model, the random forest model, support vector model, and extreme gradient boosting model. And they were able to predict some other bioactivity of the plant, which we were not able to work on in the lab. This is the result we obtained from the DPPH radical scavenging activity. And from that, on the horizontal line, that's on the S-axis, we have the concentration in microgram per milliliter, and on the vertical line, we have the scavenging activities. And then below is the key. We find out that the crude extract has a radical scavenging activities of 95.05%, which is very close to the ascorbic acid standard, which is 98.35%. And both crude fraction and that increase in concentration also lead to increase in inhibition properties. While fraction 3 peaked at 68.9%, but then fraction 4 shows an irregularity in its radical scavenging activities, where it has the least radical scavenging activities at 22% at the 260 microgram per milliliter, and then it also skyrocketed to about 58% at 100 micrometer per milligram. We also went ahead to test on the ability of the plant to scavenge hydrogen peroxide. We find out that almost all the fraction has the ability to scavenge hydrogen peroxide at about 80%, even at the least or lowest dose. And also the crude extract hit about 91.17% ability, which is close to the ascorbic acid too. But something happened here. The fraction 2 has higher hydrogen peroxide scavenging activity than the crude extract. And that shows that there are some compound in fraction 2, maybe the phenolics, alkali, and other compounds are found in this fraction 2, which are not in the crude. That gives a bit higher hand over the crude. Then we also used, and from this assay, that's the hydrogen peroxide scavenging activity of the plant and the DPPH scavenging activity of the plant. We can now say that the plant has a strong antioxidant potential. Now, what are the content of this plant that give it this strong antioxidant potential? We subjected the crude extract and the fraction into high performance liquid chromatography identifier. And we're able to identify 3 key compounds that give it this ability. The first compound is the caffeic acid. Then we have also gallic acid and the quercetin. Some other compounds we also identify, such as flavonoid, saponin, and alkaloid. This compound contains phenolics that has the ability to donate hydrogen atom that helps to neutralize free radicals. And that gives this plant the antioxidant properties. Now, this is the interesting part, where we now fed in our data into different machine learning to see if there are other properties which we can work on later on. We use 3 different machine learning models. First one is the support vector model. The second one is the random forest model, and the third one is the airstream gradient boosting model.
Sorry, Mr. Hello, Mr. Godwin. Just to remind you that you're having 2 minutes more. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. So after that we note that the airstream gradient boosting model has the highest ability to detect the bioactivity properties of this plant, and then we use random forest classifier to identify that the crude and fraction 1 has antimicrobial activities at about 86.5 confidence. Then the fraction 3 shows anti-inflammatory activities at 81.2%. And all the fraction shows DNA protective activities at 79.8% confidence. And the crude extract also shows enzyme inhibition at more than 100% confidence. Okay, this is a framework of how we make use of our machine learning. First, we improve the data we got from the high performance liquid chromatography into the 3 different machine learning model example, and then they give us other outcomes that we do not even know about, such as the antimicrobial properties, the anti-inflammatory properties, and the DNA protective properties. And this makes us to rank the fraction based on their abilities. From there, instead of wasting time to carry out experiment on large sample, using this AI and machine learning model, we can now know the best sample or the best fraction that we can work on to get the pharmaceutical property that we need.
Thank you, Mr. Godwin, for your presentation. I'm sorry for cutting your presentation short. We are behind our time schedule, so we are sorry about that. So I need to call on the next person.
All right,
thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mr. Godwin, for that insightful presentation on the practical application of machine learning to biochemical research. Thank you so much. So we'll now move on to the next presenter, which is Mr. Nasiru Ademola Adeyemi. He will be presenting on comparative acute toxicological evaluation of Justicia secunda and Indigofera unicrocappa in Wistar rats. Mr. Nasiru, you can share your screen and begin your presentation. Thank you. Mr. Nasiru, are you there?
Yes, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're from. My name is Nasiru Ademola Adeyemi, and I'll be presenting on the comparative acute toxicological evaluation of Justicia secunda and Indigofera microcappa in Wistar rats. Medicinal plants are known as vital source of bioactive compounds, which are used in development of modern drugs, and herbal medicine requires toxicity studies to establish their safety and potential adverse effect in vivo. Peak toxicity is a simple test that checks the toxic effect, mortality risk, and median lethal dose of natural products from a single dose administration. And while checking acute toxicity effect, it is good or essential to check the status of the liver and kidney, which are essential for the metabolism of drug components. So by the left is Indigofera microcappa. It's a shrub plant popularly found in the northern part of Nigeria, while Justicia secunda is commonly known as bloodroot. Some call it blood of Jesus, depending on where we are from in Nigeria. So it is commonly used as a blood tonic. That's juice from it is commonly used as blood tonic, that's Justicia secunda. But Indigofera microcarpa is commonly is a source of indigo dye in the north. So the main purpose of this study is that few toxicological studies have been conducted on both of the plants, and that is the essence of the study we conducted. So for the method at first, we collected Justicia secunda leaves from Ogun State, Nigeria, while the area part of Indigofera microcarpa was collected from Kaduna State. Then ethanol extraction using cold maceration was used to extract the components of both plants. And after that, 5,000 milligram per kg of the extract was administered, of Justicia secunda was administered to 5 male Wistar rats, and also 5,000 milligram per kg of the extract was administered to 5 male Wistar rats for Indigofera microcarpa. Then separate 5 male Wistar were served as a control, which were untreated with extract, but we administered water only. After the period of study, behavioral signs and mortality was assessed 24 hours after treatment, 72 hours after treatment, as well as 14 hours after treatment. Then at the tail end of the experiment, blood was collected, cardiac pump from the experimental rat, and was used to analyze the hematological parameters using bio-based BK600 auto-analyzer. And after that, the liver was, the animals were excised and the liver was harvested and then preserved for further histopathological examination using established method. Then at the end, one-way analysis of variance was used to compare the mean difference of different parameters for the 3 different groups, and then where mean were significant, KISS post-hoc test rank means. Then the statistical analysis was conducted using R version 4.1.5. At the end of the data analysis, we found out, or at the end of the experiment, we found that Justicia secunda didn't cause much behavioral response compared to Indigofera microcarpa. So Indigofera microcarpa caused behavioral responses such as labor breathing, as well as use fuel intake. But after 24 hours, the animals return back to their normal state. So comparing Justicia secunda and Indigofera microcarpa, we could say in this experiment that Justicia secunda caused no behavioral response and no mortality, while Indigofera microcarpa caused no mortality, but minute labor breathing symptoms and other related symptoms that shows that Indigofera microcarpa might have some level of toxicity. But at the end, there was no mortality and the animals regained their normal state. Table 2 shows the hematological profile of both rats of the 3 different groups. For the PCV shows no significant difference between the 3 groups, while hemoglobin concentration shows significant difference in that the group of rat treated with Justicia secunda had similar or statistically similar hemoglobin concentration as the control, whereas in the Indigofera microcarpa treated group had lower hemoglobin concentration. Likewise, there was also a difference in terms of the white blood cell concentration. The mean white blood cell concentration of Indigofera microcarpa treated group were quite higher than Justicia secunda treated group and the control. This tends to affirm that Justicia secunda may tend to elevate white blood cell component or the immunological component of extract when administered, and this tends to support the behavioral response which we observe in this study, that Indigofera microcarpa induce behavioral response as well as also modulate immunological response and hemoglobin concentration in fed rats. For the histopathological examination of the liver, we found that the control group had normal feature of livers. Then the Justicia secunda had slight Kupffer cell hyperplasia, which shows that at least even if we could not have higher white blood cell concentration, as I earlier spoke about, but the liver tends to show infiltration of Kupffer cells, which shows that at least to some extent, Justitia secunda may also induce immunological response. Then Indigofera microcarpa also had similar symptoms too. I'm very sorry for not defining the keys because I just prepared the slide this morning because I just got a mail for the presentation this morning. In conclusion, we deduce that Justitia secunda and Indigofera microcarpa both exhibited different levels of toxicity in male Wistar rat. The behavioral response was close to normal in Justitia secunda, while Indigofera microcarpa triggered a few toxicity symptoms without mortality. Justitia secunda extract did not cause any effect on hematological profile, but I microcarpa significantly reduced hemoglobin and increased white blood cell count of rats. The liver histology of rats only showed immune cell hyperplasia for Justitia secunda, while I microcarpa caused slight hepatic necrosis. These are my selected references. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Nasiru Ademola, for your excellent presentation. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for sharing your research with us. We will now move to the next presenter, and that is Mr. Onya Emmanuel. Mr. Emmanuel, are you here?
Yeah,
Mr. Emmanuel.
Mr. Onya, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Can you share your screen or do we share?
Please, you help me share. Please, kindly help me share.
Okay, I think I remember you sent. Just a moment, please.
All right.
Okay, sorry for the delay. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Onya Emmanuel, and I'll be presenting on the topic titled Cytogenetic and Systemic Toxicity of Lapitella and feliceates in Clarias garapinis. Next slide. So landfills, most landfills in Nigeria are government designated, and they are used to manage waste. So leachates they are caused as a result of biodegradation of waste. So Clarias garapinis, also known as the sharp-toothed catfish, are major bioindicators in genotoxic research because of the ability to accumulate and magnify hazardous chemicals. The micronucleus assay has been used extensively due to in most genotoxic and cytogenetic research, and they've tested different chemical agents. So, however, the cytogenetic and systemic toxicity of Lapitella landfillicate in this species of fish remain poorly understood. Next slide. So the aim of this study is to assess the cytogenotoxic potential of Lapitella landfillicate in Clarias garapinis using micronucleus assay, hematology, and histopathological changes. The first objective is to determine the leather concentration of Clarias garapinis fingernails exposed to the leachate. The second is to examine the histopathological change due to the exposure. The third is to assess the hematological changes in the Clarias garapinis exposed to the leachate. And the last but not the least is to evaluate the frequency of micronucleus and other nuclear abnormalities in the fish exposed to the leachate. The next slide. So the study was conducted in Lapite dump site, and it is situated in Akinyele local government in Oyo State, Nigeria. And the landfill is surrounded by a range of human activities such as farming, scavenging, and commercial activities. The next slide. So the first and the second is showing the major activities in the landfill. If you look at the second one, the B part, you see evidence of human settlement in the inside the dump site. The next slide. Next slide. So the materials and method. So the leachates were collected from 10. Sorry. Okay. So the leachates were. Sorry, back.
Yeah.
No, the back. Yes. So leachates were collected from 10 wells, and they were mixed together. They were homogenized, and they were stored, kept in a 25-liter jerry can before it was transported to the lab for examination. So the leachates were processed by sieving it through a sieve of mesh size 120 millimeter, and it was filtered using Whatman filter paper. Physicochemical properties analysis was also conducted, and parameters such as color, temperature, pH, dissolved solids were measured using standard methods. Next. So heavy metals was also conducted at the Geoenvironmental Research Center in University of Ibadan. And some of the elements that were considered or analyzed were arsenic, lead, copper, and manganese. And they were done according to APA 1998 and US APA 1996 procedures. So persistent organic pollutants such as the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, the thiolate ester, and PCBs, also known as polychlorinated biphenyls, were also analyzed using standard methods. So the fish, the animal used for this experiment is Clarias garapinis fingernails. It was purchased from Aquatech in Ibadan. So they were fed with commercial feed and twice daily at 4% of their body weight. The next. So the fish were first acclimatized in the animal house of University of Ibadan for 14 days. The experimental design contained 2 control, one negative, which is normal dechlorinized water, and then positive, which is benzene. And then 6 treatment groups were used for the study. Then the stocking density is 20 fish per 20 liter of plastic container. So the weight was also measured using a calibrated measuring board, and the length was measured using a measuring board, and the weight using weighing balance, and it was expressed in grams. Next. So architoxicity and LC50 were determined, and the 10 fish were exposed per each concentration or treatment, and they were not fed during the test. So mortality and other behavioral physiological changes were recorded for 24 hours and for the 96 hours duration of the experiment. The subletter toxicity was also conducted, whereby 20 fish were introduced per 20 liter of the plastic container, and then the treatment was exposed to each concentration or treatment and the control for 28 days. And then the test and control substance were replaced every 48 hours. And then the fish were analyzed after 7 days at day 7, 14, and 28 of the exposure period. MN was conducted by taking blood from the caudal vein of the fish using a apparent syringe. Then smears were made. It was then fixed in green water for 20 minutes. So hematology samples were considered include access ink platelets, and eosinophils. So statistical analysis was presented in mean and standard error. LC50 was calculated using probit analysis and over to compare differences among the groups. Next slide. So this is the table 1 shows the physicochemical parameters. And if you look at, sorry for the poor table. So it's from the table, most of the values exceeded the natural and UN-EPA permissible limits. So the second slide. So these are the thiolates. So most of the thiolate compounds were detected in the leachate. The only one that was not found is a di-N-acetyl thiolate, which was not detected. Next slide. So this is the PAH in the leachate, and most of them were not found in the leachate sample. The next slide. So this is PCB. The next slide. So this is the weight and length of the fish exposed to the leachate for each of the concentration and treatment. So the next slide. So this is the MN of the fish exposed to the leachate, to the raw leachate. The next slide. So this is the continuation of the previous table. So these are the abnormalities. The first plate is showing the micronucleus, which is very tiny outside the nucleus, and it's just 1/3 of the nucleus. The second one is the normal erythrocyte. Next slide. So these are the binucleated cells. This is the apoptic cells. Next slide. So these are the necrotic cells and the nuclear board. Next slide. So this is the hematological data of the exposed fish. The next slide.
You have about 2 minutes left.
All right, sir. So this is the histopathological alterations that was observed. So you can see the aberrations that was noticed, the severe degeneration of the liver cells. Next slide. So this is the other aberrations, the hypoplasma, the fusion of the filaments. Next slide. So in conclusion, the Lapital raw leachates basically is alkaline in nature, so which influence the availability of heavy metal in the soil. So, and it also contains nitrates, which has carcinogenic properties because it has been known nitrosamines has been associated with the formation of cancer. Next slide. So the Na and Mn that was in the study was concentration and time dependent. And it was observed that the Lapital leachate contains cytotoxins, which can alter DNA synthesis. And then the hematological result shows that there are some changes as a result of the exposure. Platelets and eosinophils reduction has been observed to affect the harmful substances. So the study demonstrated that the histological lessons and the histological lessons that was observed was concentration and time dependent, just like the micronucleus and NAs that was observed. Next slide. So in conclusion, it is evident that this leachate has cytogenetic effect, and it can damage DNA of fish and lead to genetic mutation, and which has potential harmful effect on the fish and the ecosystem. So research needs to be conducted to understand the specific compounds of the leachate that are responsible for these observable effects. Next slide. Next slide. So these are my references, selected references, and thank you for listening.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for that interesting and well-deserved presentation. So moving on to the next presentation, we invite Mr. Olanipekun Istro to please share his screen and start. Mr. Olanipekun Istro, are you here?
Yes.
Okay. You can share your screen, please.
I said good morning. Please, can you share my slides? I sent it to you earlier.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll do that now. Thank you. Yeah, right here. Okay.
Good day once again, everyone. While the screen is loading, I am Israel Olanipekun, a graduate of Mountain Top University. And I'll be making a presentation on QSAN molecular dynamics investigation of Neuberger Levy's phytocompounds as aldose reductase inhibitors for SOD-associated Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. Next slide, please. So these are some of the contents we'll be considering in this presentation. I will introduce you to what basically CMT means, the research problem, the methodology involved, and our result and conclusion. Next slide, please. Okay, so basically CMT is a form of hereditary disease and it is neurodegenerative in nature. The CMT basically comes from the founder's name, the scientists that founded the disease. So it's a form of disease that affects the peripheral nerves, that is the nerves that extends to the arm and to the legs. And this CMT it has many subtypes, over 135 gene mutations, just like cancer. So it's very hard for one to actually pinpoint the exact one to target and deal with. For this study, we actually focused on the SOD deficiency, basically sorbitol dehydrogenase gene is mutated, and as such, sorbitol cannot be converted to fructose. If you look at the right-hand side, there's a pathway there that shows the function of sorbitol dehydrogenase. So basically, when there's an overload of glucose is converted to sorbitol by the action of the enzyme aldose reductase. So when it is converted to sorbitol, in a process where the sorbitol dehydrogenase gene is actually mutated and cannot perform its function, sorbitol begins to accumulate. And that accumulation leads generation that leads to the CMT subtype of this disease that damages both the arms and the legs, leading to loss of muscle function and muscle atrophy.
Hello, Israel. Hello, Israel.
I think he's having network
Can you hear
issue
me now?
again.
Okay, we can hear you now. Yes, yes.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Sorry for the break in transmission earlier. So these are some of the clinical manifestation of the CMT disease. Basically, it leads to muscle function, as I mentioned earlier. It affects the peripheral nerves. So the nerves going to the arms and the feet are affected. So you can see the hunched feet for those affected with CMT disease. So basically, movement and walking and locomotion is actually very affected. Next slide, please. So the research problem, basically CMT is progressive, that is, it worsens over time. And currently there's no approved medication or the other therapies that exist is basically to manage the disease, not to actually prevent the progression of this disease. So the research gap, current remedies for CMT focuses on disease management with no preventable measures. These compounds from the Niboda leaves to inhibit aldose reductase, that is the enzyme that converts glucose to sorbitol. So prevention of glucose to be converted to sorbitol in a case where. So our hypothesis believes that Niboda prevents sorbitol accumulation. So for the methodology, we started from plant collection, then pharmacophore modeling, molecular docking. Basically, this study utilizes predictive models to actually evaluate the potential of Niboda leaves to inhibit aldose reductase. So this chromatogram was actually extracted from Oluyele et al. So this next slide, please.
So
So
which
the
slide,
pharmacophore
please?
hypothesis, basically, what's this pharmacophore?
Is it the right slide?
Yes, this current slide is okay. Yes, yes. The next slide, yeah. Next slide, please. The current slide you were on before you moved
Oh, this
it.
one, right?
No, not this. Next one. Yes, this.
All right.
So this pharmacophore hypothesis basically postulates that the structural you have moved it again, please. The structural features of the compound is actually responsible for its biological activity. So we had 7 different features that actually showed the biological activity of the co-crystallized ligand, that is the ligand that is found normally in aldose reductase in a neutral state when it is not functioning. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Yeah, next slide.
Okay, so we did molecular docking from the compounds we got through
You have
the
about 2 minutes left,
HPLC
please.
PLC analysis. So we did molecular docking, and these are some of our results. Basically, we saw quercetin having the highest docking score and eugenol with the lowest docking score. Next slide, please. So for ADMET and toxicity, basically for any drug to be usable as a drug, it has to have low toxicity profile, and these were some of the parameters we evaluated. Next slide, please. So for the AutoQSAR, basically this predicts the IC50, that is the amount of drug you need to actually carry out its therapeutic efficacy. So it is predictive in nature. We use a QSAR model, basically a predictive learning model, machine learning model, to predict the biological effectiveness of these drug molecules. Next slide. So for the molecular dynamic simulation, aside from the drug target having affinity with the active sites of the enzyme to actually inhibit the enzyme, we look at the stability of each of these proteins when they are bound together with any of our drug molecule. So we can say the reference ligand, when it was attached to the active site of the protein, it's only moved for about 0.13 nanometers, while our drug target, which was curcumin, is moved for about 0.15 nanometers, showing that it is very stable under normal human environment, biological environment. Next slide, please. So basically, this is the summary of the data we got from our molecular dynamic simulation. Next slide. So in conclusion, quercetin had the highest docking score, that is, it had the ability to inhibit aldose reductase, thereby preventing sorbitol accumulation. And also, the drug target curcumin actually had good ADMET safety, that is, it is druggable, it is drug-like in nature, and it is absorbed by the gastrointestinal tract. It is also stable under biological environment. We don't want a protein that scatters bound to the drug. So our molecular dynamic simulation actually showed us that it was stable in biological environments and also had a very good binding energy to the our protein targets. Future research direction, basically, I said this is the predictive this is machine learning model. We have to carry out experimental validation to actually evaluate the correctness or the level of correctness in each of these results, which we have brought out through our predictive model, and can lead to clinical trials that can lead to a good.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aistro, for your presentation. Your time is over. I have to move to the next person. May I invite Ms. Omoseyin Atinuke? Are you here? Ms. Atinuke?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, thank you. Please, you can begin your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. I sent my slide yesterday. Could you please help me with it?
Okay.
Okay, good day, everyone. My name is Omoseyin Atinuke. I graduated from University of Ibadan, an animal scientist. While we wait for the slide.
Is that this? No. Okay. All right. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll be presenting on Beyond Traditional Farming, examining the role of agentic AI in poultry production, governance, and societal change. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. My research interests lie at the intersection of livestock management and emerging technologies, particularly artificial intelligence is reshaping the way we monitor, manage, and govern poultry production system. Next slide, please. Poultry production is a pillar of food security and rural livelihood, especially in developing economies like Nigeria. And poultry production is an aspect of livestock production that deals with birds. It can be chicken, turkey, or guinea fowl, or any forms of poultry management. And it is very important in food security because it is one of the major sources of protein for us in developing countries. And AI is now reshaping this sector, which is moving beyond generative AI and now to agentic AI, which is capable of autonomous, goal decision-directed decision making and action. In poultry farming, agentic AI can independently manage diseases, surveillance, feed optimization, unlike the generative AI that we used to know before. An example of this is when you have a farm and then a generative AI can tell you, okay, there is stress going on in this pen, so you have to increase the ventilation. But when we talk about the agentic AI, this is more precise. This AI can analyze, it can tell you what to do, and it can also do it for you.
For example, it can say, okay, it can increase the ventilation by 15% or 20%, or the percentage that is needed by the bird. In poultry farming, agentic AI can independently manage disease surveillance, feed optimization, and behavioral monitoring. Tasks once required constant human oversight. With agentic AI, we need minimal human supervision or no human supervision. This paper, therefore, examines how agentic AI can ethically and equitably integrated into poultry production, bridging the gap between animal science, autonomous system design, and governance to inform policy and practices. Next slide, please. Okay, the objective. We have 4 clear objectives to examine how agentic AI can be applied across the key domain of poultry production, which include disease surveillance, feed management, behavioral analysis, and yield optimization. We all know the major problem of poultry is feed management. If you are able to manage your feed efficiently and you are able to eradicate disease or control your disease or disease surveillance, there is a high probability of you getting optimal yield. And also to interrogate the ethical government challenges that this creates, specifically around accountability, transparency, and farmer to explore the societal implication of this transition with particular attention to smallholder farmers in developing economies who risk being left behind. When we look at the statistics of large scale to medium scale and small scale farmer, we saw that we have more of small scale farmers of about 60 to 70% compared to the large scale farmers. And also another objective that we'll be looking into is to contribute to innovative interdisciplinary lens, one which that helps to understand how autonomous AI can be ethically and integrated into agricultural practices. Next slide, please. Background and problem. Poultry today is under enormous pressure. Farmers need faster decision, real-time information, and systems that can adapt without delay. Poultry production is no longer the simple farming that we used to know. It is now dynamic. You have to take into consideration your feeding, your disease, housing, biosecurities, environmental factors, and these factors can change in hours. And you have to be careful, you have to monitor it very well, and you need to make a fast decision. Because, for example, now you have a farm, let's say you have a 5,000 farm, and there is heat stress, and if you are not aware, which means your 5,000 birds can die in less than 1 hour. Or you have a disease like AI, which is avian influenza, you have something like that, it can eradicate your farm in hours, not even days now. So you need to pay attention to this. And also, artificial intelligence has been a part of agriculture for some time. It has been a part of agriculture for some time, but the AI we knew before was generative. And now we have to move to automotive. We have to move to agentic AI. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Methodology. So this research was not carried out in a lab. It was generated through literature review, literature, agentic AI literature, then case study globally, and also policy review, field insights in Nigerian poultry. Also, it is also through the following lens, through animal science, welfare and production, autonomous system, ethical government accountability, and policy. Next slide, please. Key findings. The agentic AI across 4 poultry production domains. I'll be talking about the disease surveillance, early detection of outbreak by analyzing this AI. This AI can help us to detect disease even before the clinical signs, even before the bird starts showing the clinical signs. It can help you to detect this. Maybe, for example, your farm has a history of gumboro or any form of disease. This AI is going to help you to analyze your data and give you the possible solution. Feed management. If you are able to manage your feed very well, your water intake is going to go a long way in your poultry production, because feed accounts for about 60 to 70% of your production. Also, behavioral analysis, continuous welfare, monitoring beyond human observation capacity, yield optimization, control of lighting, your temperature, humidity, ventilation, and all of that. The challenges when system acts without adequate governance. Also, when we talk about agentic AI, you also have to look at the other parts, which includes the accountability when an autonomous system errors, which is responsible. Who is responsible? Is it the developer, the farmer, or institution? We also need transparency. Many agentic system reach conclusion, even their developers cannot fully explain. Farmer autonomy. Next slide, please.
You have about 2 minutes, please.
Oh, okay. So key findings. According to Ahmed et al. In 2025, the major constraint of ICT utilization among Nigerian farmers was high cost of devices, maintenance, lack of infrastructure, and poor internet connectivity. In Nigeria, the leading barrier is high cost of ICT devices, the maintenance, and poor internet connectivity. Without deliberate inclusion policy, commercial producers gain advantage, smallholder farmers fall further behind. Food security for millions is put at risk. Next slide, please. Proposed framework. Central argument is this: no single discipline can govern agentic AI alone. We need the combination of these three. We need the animal science, which provides the foundation of what we are talking about, and autonomous system design addresses the technical side, while the ethical government addresses the human side. After this AI, after they are able to analyze everything, there should be someone like a veterinary or animal scientist or animal health technologist that they are going to get back to, which is to address the human side. Next slide, please. Summary: agentic AI offers genuine significant gains for poultry production, which includes early disease detection. It's going to save your flock. Adaptive feed management reduces waste. Real-time behavioral monitoring improves welfare. These benefits are real, and we do not dismiss them. Also, the framework we propose, interdisciplinary, inclusive, and farmer-centered, is one of our contributions to ensuring that this technology serves agricultural, but not just those who can already afford it. And we believe that implications extend beyond Nigeria, beyond poultry, beyond livestock, to food security and agricultural policy globally. Next slide, please. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, go
Thank
ahead.
you.
Go ahead, Mother.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Atinoke, for that informative presentation on the application of agentic AI to poultry production. Thank you so much. May I now welcome Miss Ogundeji Olajumoke Victoria for our presentation. Miss Olajumoke, are you here? Miss Olajumoke? Okay, what of Mr. Saminu Mustafa? Mr. Saminu, are you here too?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You may proceed, please.
Okay, let me share my screen. And come, please. So good day, everyone. My name is Saminu Mustafa. So I'm here to present a research titled Logical and Peaceful Enhancement of Program Modified Bitumen using the multi-wall carbon nanotube as secondary additive, the Gauss-Decken and responsive methodology approach. So I'm a graduate of chemical engineering from Lodi Tactical and Industrial Technology. And this is my presentation outlines the target of study, which features the development of statements, some methods, aim and objective, results, scope of study, and conclusion and recommendation with reference. So the background of the study, what is bitumen? Bitumen is just a viscoelastic material used as a binders in road construction. So the reason why we use bitumen for road construction is just because of the viscoelastic properties. You know, when all those trailers and trucks pass through it, it can be able to retain its original strength without having any deformation. So, and the major defect we have in bitumen
Hi, Saminu, can you click
is
on the presentation button? Yeah.
okay. So
All right. Yeah. That's you. Beautiful. Continue. Just quickly move to the right slide.
okay, I said these are one of the defects we have in bitumen. We have the cracking, we have the rotting, we have the riveting, and we have the pothole. And since we know that road is just one of the major importance in our society, when we want to transport our goods from one place to another, we have to make use of the road. And one of the major key instruments we use in that road construction is the bitumen, which we use to hold the stone aggregate together in road pavement. And the reason why we are modifying the bitumen just for us to have the bitumen with effective and just to make the bitumen to last longer than we want. So that's the major reason for the need for bitumen modification. And these are my problem statements. So as I said earlier, that bitumen is just prefer for high performance highway. This is a sectional road performance, but it still is susceptible to one of the damages, which include cracking, rotting, and riveting, which significantly impact the functionality and lifespan. So the primary cause of this issue is thermal degradation and ultraviolet rays radiation induced by exposure to sunlight, like also rain and all those things. So, however, there has been some research which a lot of researchers have done, which they make use of polymers and some additives like rubbers, but this problem still persists. But look into it that the polymer modification of the bitumen is not enough. So we just need to find an additional material we can incorporate together with this polymer so that it can give us the strength we desire. So it has been researched that nanomaterials such as multi-wall carbon nanotube have high tensile strength and Young modulus and can therefore enhance the polymeric. So when we incorporate this polymer with this nanomaterial, so it can give us the properties and the desires. So these are the aim and objective of this research. So the aim and objective is just for us to improve, to help to enhance the biological and physical properties of this bitumen, so that it can give us the effective and good road pavement. So the objective were we started the bitumen, we purify it from all the impurities, we characterize it. The characterization we did in this research, we did TDA, we did EDX, and we did SEM. And the purpose of doing the EDX is just for us to know how the additive we add to the bitumen, how dispersed it is. And the purpose of doing the TDA is just for us to test for the thermal degradation and the thermal stability of that bitumen. So we also determine the physical and biological properties of this bitumen, which are penetration tests, we test for the testing, we test for the penetration test, softening test, and also test for the viscosity, which is the same thing as the biological properties. So we also determine the effect of this one carbon nanotube on physical mechanical properties of polymer modified bitumen, and we test for the we optimize the mixing condition, which ranges from 20 minutes to 45 minutes, and the concentration of this multi-wall carbon nanotube, which ranges from 0.1 to 0.3, and the mixing speed, which ranges from 1,000 to 1,500. So this is the scope of study. The bitumen was first from Ondo State, which is Loda Tasan, and the characterization was limited to FTR, the same analysis and the conventional physical characterization. And these are some of the literature review considered in these studies. So these are the materials and method. The first thing we did is just to collected our sample. We extract the bitumen and purify the bitumen from impurities, which is sand, all those small ions. We characterize the bitumen just for us to know the composition of it. So we make the bitumen with PSCB, which is polystyrene cobutadiene polymer. And before we make that, the PSCB is just in solid form, and we have to dissolve it in a solvent, which we make use of styrene and dissolve that PSCB. And after then, we mix it with multi-wall carbon nanotube, and we evaluate We evaluated it using standard method. After that, we did an optimization just for us to establish the optimal condition for the mixing and to propose or to put out the optimal condition that will give us the optimum result. And these are some of our results. So I already said that we consider 3 factors, which have we vary the constitution of multiple CNT and the time. So the first one is we got the penetration point. These are the penetration point. This is the fire point, and this is the flash point. So the fire point is just for us to know the point at which that bitumen will catch fires. I mean, when a vehicle is passing on the road, so that we have to make sure that we have to put into consideration that when there is any impact on the road, so it will not catch fire easily. So, and these are some of the parameters we tested for. And after the completion of this research, we are able to determine our optimized condition. And the optimized condition for the multiple CLT is just 0.15 to approximate it. And the speed is 1474.69. The time is 38.72. Penetration point is 21.81. The fire point is 155.65. And the flash point is 133.269. Please, I'm not doing comms. So in conclusion, the enhancement of physical and mechanical rheology properties of polystyrene, butadiene, bitumen, and that was successfully explored. So the characterization shows that the additive were homogeneously dispersed in the bitumen, and it gives us an improved properties of penetration point. I mean, the penetration point was decreased by 5.21%. The softening point was increased by 10.35%, and the viscosity was increased by 15.02%. And these are the recommendations. Since we know that the one we did in the lab is just on a lab scale, and there is a need to approve this kind of research so that they can scale it up to the industrial purpose, so that we can evaluate the practical performance of this research so in the real world application. So
infrastructure limitation, we also have human oversight and accountability, and so on and so forth. Next slide. Next slide.
Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. Thank you. We really appreciate your valuable contribution. So let me quickly call on the last presenter, and that's Mr. Saminu Mustafa Dikuke. Are you here?
I was the one. I think I was the one that did it.
Saminu just presented. I think the next person is Victoria.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Miss Ogundeji or Victoria.
Good. Okay. I'm here.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, you can start your presentation.
Yeah, you have 10 minutes, please.
Please, you can help me share the screen, ma. I've sent my slide already.
Oh. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, we're with you here. We're with you. Just a moment.
Okay.
Please hold on.
Good day, everyone.
You have 10 minutes, please.
Good day, everyone. Good morning. I'm Ogundeji Olajumoke Victoria, and I will be presenting on aqueous leaf extract of Sclerodendron volubi induced micronucleus and hepatotoxicity in mice. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Dr. Joshua, for the presentation. You're welcome. So thank you for your presentation. So the floor is still very much open for questions.
Hello, Victoria. Hello.
Hello.
Is she still here? Hello, Victoria.
I think she's here. Well,
Yeah, network.
yeah, maybe she's having
So the in vivo micronucleus, the bone marrow cells, according to Ang et al. 2013. So, however, despite the potential for toxicity is there's limited study about the potential toxicity. So, this Sclerodendron volubi is also known as white butterfly. Among the Laje Ondo people, they call it Marugbo or Eweta. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
So the aims and objective of this study is to assess the DNA damage and liver toxicity of this aqueous leaf extract of Sclerodendron volubi in mus musculus mice using the bone marrow micronucleus assay and histopathology. The objectives of this study is to determine the lethal dose of Sclerodendron volubi extract, to investigate the genotoxic effects of Sclerodendron volubi using MN assay, then to assess the toxicity of Sclerodendron volubi to the liver using histopathology. Next slide, please. So the materials and method: collection and identification of C. volubi. Fresh list of this leaf was purchased from Ondo Town, and it was taken to the cell biology and genetics laboratory units in the Department of Zoology Department, University of Ibadan. So the leaves were rinsed under running tap water. It was allowed to dry, then it was deposited at the Herbarium Department of Botany, University of Ibadan. Next slide, please. The leaves was dried, then grinded into powder using mechanical blender. So a quantity of 100 grams of powdered leaves were infused in 1000 ml of water at 100 degrees Celsius for aqueous extraction. So after the extraction, solvent was evaporated from the filtrate using vacuum rotary evaporator. So the residual solvent was then removed using air oven at 45 degrees Celsius, after which the resultant paste was preserved at 4 degrees Celsius as stock, according to Bakare et al. 2001. Next slide, please. So this is the diagram showing the picture of the Sclerodendron volubi, known as white butterfly. Next slide, please. So the materials and method.
I think still the network problem, right?
Sorry. So No, the previous slide.
Previous slide, okay.
Yes. Back.
Is it this?
No, back.
Back, okay.
No, okay. Next slide.
This, right?
Okay, yes. This present slide. So acute toxicity test was carried out according to OECD guideline 2005, where 3 groups of mice were used for acute toxicity, where they were treated with a single oral dose of 0.2 ml of 1,200 milligram per kilogram to determine the acute toxicity test. And this was done to observe their behavior and the mortality for the first 4 hours and then daily for 14 consecutive days. Next slide, please. So the experimental design, the mice were randomly divided into 5 groups of 12 animals per each. The group 1 mice were orally admitted 0.2 ml of distilled water, which is control group. Group 2 to 5 were received 50, 100, 200, then 400 milligram per kilogram body weight. So the mice were randomly selected and assessed for MN and liver histology at 7 days, 21 days, and 5 days recovery, which is the 26 days. So each of the mice received a single dose of 0.5 ml of cyclophosphamide, which is the positive control. Next slide, please. And it was
Okay, I'm coming just a minute.
I think the main room is room 1, right?
Hello.
Sorry about that, please. Is it the right slide, please? Confirm.
Okay, back.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Is it this one?
Okay.
Just confirm, please.
Back, please. Let me see. Okay, the next slide, please.
Okay.
So at each of these post-exposure period, the 7 days, 21 days, 26 days, mice were assessed by cervical dislocation and where the femurs and the liver were exercised for bone marrow, MN, and liver histology respectively. Back, please. So the MN was conducted according to Bakare and Alabi 2011, where the bone marrow cells were collected, then flushed in with 1 ml fetal bovine serum into an Eppendorf tube. So the supernatant was disconnected and another 1 ml of fetal bovine was added. So at the end, the resulting slide were fixed in absolute methanol to fix the for fixation. Then it was then stained with May-Grunwald and Giemsa stain, after which 1,000 cells were scored at 1,000 magnification to check for the next slide, please. So on this, the liver histopathology was done according to AWIO 2010. Next slide, please. So these were the frequencies of the micronucleated erythrocytes and the mitotic activities in the bone marrow of the mice exposed to the aqueous extract of C. volubi according to their exposure period, the 7 days, 21 days, and 26 days. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide. And these are the MN induced in the mice exposed to Sclerodendron volubi. Next slide. These are the abnormalities recorded: bladed, CR, Cabot ring, helmet cell in mice. These are the abnormalities recorded. Please, next slide, please. So table 2 is showing the change in body weight of mice exposed to aqueous extract of C. volubi. Next slide, please. So these are the mean frequency of the other abnormalities of each aqueous leaf extract of C. volubi for the 7 days, 21 days, and 26 days exposure. Please, next slide, please. So the mean frequency of the ratio of PCE and NCE of the aqueous leaf extract of C. volubi for 27 days, 21 days, and 26 days. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So this is the liver hepatic histology of mice exposed to. These are the lesions that were induced. The first one is showing the normal central venue, the normal non-filtrated sinusoids, severe portal triditis. Sorry. Next slide, please. So this is the continuation of the lesions detected. Next slide, please. So the identification of MN in this study provides a quantifiable measure of chromosome loss and breakage. And it shows that increase in the frequency of these MNPCs is a strong indicator, because as the MNPC increases, it increases with increase in concentration. So this shows that increase in frequency of MNPC is a strong indicator of nuclear genotoxicity. Please, next slide, please. So, no, back. So an increase in the body weight was also observed in both the control and the tested group when compared, except for higher concentration. Compared to the higher group, the number of MNPC, that is abnormalities, increased with increase in the dose and increase in the exposure period. So this suggests that higher concentration of C. volubi can cause potential toxicity. So this study shows that the hepatoprotective effect of C. volubi at lower concentrations, which could be attributed to the inhibition of oxidative stress due to presence of antioxidants in the leaf extract. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, this study shows that though there are many benefits this particular leaf possess therapeutic and nutritional values, but this study shows that it has the potential to induce DNA damage and liver toxicity in mice. So the recommendation is that there is need for more research to understand the effect of these plants on the reproductive system through the use of sperm quality assays, histological analysis of the testes and ovaries to assess its impact on reproductive hormones. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are some of the references. Next slide. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Ms. Olajumoke.
Sorry, I'm on my way to a positive.
No, it's okay.
No
I mean,
problem.
it was
It's
a
okay.
brilliant.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we have come to the end of the presentation today. And I would like to say thank you to all our presenters for the insightful and informative presentation. We sincerely appreciate your efforts and the contribution to this year's research forum. So we'll be going to the
I think we can just maybe can we take just one or two questions? If anyone, yeah, one or two questions.
Okay.
Please.
So please, you may type your question in the chat box or raise and use the raise hand function. And also, please indicate the name of the presenter you're addressing the question to. Thank you.
We can just take one or two questions if there
Okay.
is any. All right, go ahead, Saladin.
Yeah, thank you so much. My question is actually directed to Ms. Omoseyin. Is she here?
Yeah, Ms. Omoseyin Atunike, right? Ms. Atunike?
Yeah. Okay, is she here?
Yeah, she's here. Yeah, she is.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Yeah, it was a really good one. I understand your topic, which is about agentic AI and how you can use it in the animal or poultry animal science setting. And my question is actually, yes, we all know that agentic AI, using agentic AI in Nigeria, because it's a developing country. And yes, there are some factors that could like inhibit the process of integrating agentic AI into animal science. But my question is actually, do you have any recommendation on how that can be done? Is there any recommendation from your part relating to your research, relating to your presentation? Like, is there anything that can be done if there is an animal scientist that wants to integrate it and these factors are inhibiting them? Is there any recommendation you can give for them to integrate this agentic AI into the animal or poultry settings? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your question, and I'm going to respond now. Okay,
just
so
respond in
I will
30 seconds. In 30 seconds, just respond, please.
Okay, what we can do is to research more, because right now we do not really have a farm that is using agentic AI currently in Nigeria. Though we have few like Junkan Farm or Geotrax Farm, but we don't have fully automated AI in Nigeria. The ones we have like Smart Flock and Poultry Trackers and all of that, they are just they are more of generative. So we don't really have much in Nigeria. So we can do more of research, and then the agricultural extensions, they can take it to the farmers so that they can adopt these new technologies that we are talking about. I think that is what we can do, more research, and then the extensions can take it to the farmers, or everybody can take it to the farmers, and they can start doing it, starting from smallhold to large scale farming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, let me quickly just make a few comments. Not really a question, because I don't think we have time. I just
Okay.
wanted, during the presentation, I think it's Atinuke that said AI does not need supervision. So I just want to correct that. That is not true. AI needs
Oh,
supervision.
sorry. I said minimal supervision.
No, what you said
Minimal.
was it doesn't need. That was what you said. So maybe it was a slip of tongue. So AI still needs human supervision. If you were present at the beginning where the guest speakers gave their talk, I think it was quite emphasized that we still need to supervise the use of AI. Then during Victoria's presentation, I think she said, when she was talking on the volume bio, she said there is lack of information. So that is not a proper term to use, because if you
Sorry, guys,
check,
limited.
yeah, but in your slide, what you have is lack. So you don't say lack, because when you check the net, you will definitely find some information. So you could just say limited or maybe paucity or insufficient instead of just saying lack, because lack is like zero.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
I was supposed to put inadequate.
Then I
Thank
also
you.
wanted to talk to Victoria, and let me see if I remember the second presenter. I noticed you used PowerPoint. Yeah, I noticed you used Microsoft Word because most of your figures were just maybe a screenshot, then you pasted on on Microsoft Word. So it is very clear that it's a screenshot. So it is not very scientific to present through Microsoft. You could use a PowerPoint. So even if you use PowerPoint and you make a screenshot, it would still be like you wrote directly on PowerPoint. But on Microsoft Word, it's showing that this is paper screenshot. So it wasn't looking so nice. So aside from that, it was a nice presentation from everyone.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Akaniro, for that constructive comments. Thank you so much. And we won't be able to take any question again because we don't have much time. And I will just say thank you very much to all our presenters for their excellent contributions, and also to all the co-chairs, Dr. Chibu, Dr. Ifnaya Akaniro, and many thanks to our thank you so much for your active participation and the constructive questions. We really appreciate your time. So now we can all go back to the main room. Thank you so much.
Yes, to go back to the main room, just click on leave room and then leave breakout room, and you will go straight back to the main room. I think everybody is back, so send me out.
Right. I think we
Well,
have a few more people in.
yeah.
Just one moment. Let's everybody come back. Okay, once again, thank you all for joining this forum. And I'm sure you've all had pretty engaging discussions, and you've also had from our presenters what they've got to share from the different disciplines. And so after almost like 30 presenters, we have to choose like the best presenter for each discipline. So I'll be inviting the chairperson of ANSHK, Dr. Sofuruchi, to please do us the honor and announce the winners and the best. I mean, everyone is a winner, but yeah, the outstanding presenters for today.
Can we move to the next item while we finalize the
Oh, okay, sure. I think we need some time to finalize the best presenter. So in the meantime, I would like to invite the General Secretary of the association to share a bit of what is upcoming and what to expect from the association in the nearest future. So I'm just going to share my slides really quickly. 1 second.
While we are waiting for Ms. Samia to share the slides, I would like to introduce myself. Islamiat Haditola Salaudi. I'm the General Secretary of the association. Okay, thank you. All right. The first thing we have here is the ANSHK Scholarship Program 2026, and it's a program where we invite Nigerians to apply to the HKPFS, which is the Hong Kong PhD Fellowship Scheme. And the scholarship covers the application fee. And we also help to them to lessen their burden when it comes to like paying the application fee for their admission program. And it's also it's currently on, started from May 30 to June 20. The application period is currently on. And please, if you have anyone who is interested in applying for a PhD here in Hong Kong, please let them know about this program that we are running. And if you have more information or if you have more questions, please, we have the association email, which is the ANSHK scholarship team at gmail.com. And please, if you have any questions, any inquiries, please send an email to the email in the flyer. And moving forward, we have the annual membership dues, and we have an account for that to be paid in. And we all know that the membership due for the master's program is 300, but that of the PhD doctoral is 500. And there is an account to be paid into, which is the Bank of East Asia. And the account details will be displayed soon. Yes, thank you. The account name is Association of Nigerian Scholars in Hong Kong. That is the account number right there. And the bank is Bank of East Asia. So moving forward, we also have different social media platforms. We have the Facebook platform, which is the facebook.com/anshk.org. And you can also contact us on YouTube, which is the ANSHK Hong Kong. And we have our official email, which is anshk.org@gmail.com. And we have our official website, which is www.anshk.org. You can access us or contact us through any of those, either through Facebook, YouTube, email, or through our website. And okay, I think we have to take it back to the presentation of awards. Thank you for your time.
Right. Thank you, Islamiat, and would like Dr. Sopuruti back.
Yeah, thank you so
to
much.
present.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming and staying up to these moments. I believe you were able to get the quality for your time. The NHSK is for scholars that are in Hong Kong. So when you get yourself to Hong Kong, then you can become a member. But you are free to join us in any activity as well that we have. So back to the presentation of our awards. So this is in recognition of those who performed exceptionally in the presentation. So for the science and technology session, the awardee is Mr. Nasiru Adeyemi. For social science and humanities 1, the winner is Oluwajumolo Afolabi. For social science 2, the awardee is Dr. Chibuike Abunike. And then for engineering mathematics, the winner there is Mr. Kabir Suleiman. So congratulations to all awardees. NHSK will get in touch with your certificates, and so to all participants as well, we are going to email the certificates of presentation to all those who presented their papers today. I think that will be from my end. So thank you all for coming, and thank you all for staying up to this moment. Back to you, Samiat.
Yes, once again, congratulations to everybody and the four best presenters, as well as everyone else who was able to present today. We truly appreciate your participation. And as Dr. Soporichi mentioned, everyone would get a certificate of participation, and we'll send you some other stuff after this forum ends. And so that's about it for today. And
Okay.
I would like to invite the chairperson of the committee to give us a few remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Semia. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. President Dr. Abo. I want to especially thank our speakers, starting from the keynote speaker, Dr. Yetunde, and other brilliant presenters. Every one of you that joined from Hong Kong, Nigeria, and beyond. Thank you for your time and your engaging questions. Today we did not just discuss the future of AI or agentic AI or ethical governance and interdisciplinary research, but rather we explored how we can actively shape it. The insight, how we can bridge the gaps in our respective field and continue pushing the boundaries of excellence. So on a final note, I want to say thank you all for making today a resounding success. Do have a wonderful weekend, as we do expect to see you in our future events. Thank you.
So you can stop recording.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
The meeting will still be live for the next 3 minutes. So if you have any
Yeah, until 6